Greetings in the bonds of peace, and welcome to the Vision on Yahshua. My name is Dr. Lyons. I am a forever student of the divine vision and revelation given to the founder of the Institute of Divine Metaphysical Research, Dr. Henry Clifford Kemp, who had his vision and revelation in the year of 1931 in the state of Ohio at 9 a.m., June 6th, first watch, third hour, and day of Pentecost, according to Yahweh Elohim's prophetic timetable given to the Hebrew nation. Dr. Henry Clifford Kemp proved these facts on 3 ecclesiastical peace missions around the world to every religious organization and school of the highest level from 1958 to 1976. As a result of his divine vision and revelation, he transcribed God, the archetype, the original pattern of the universe. This publication was given to every queen and king of the earth and their progenitors, including all presidents-elect until 1980, along with a Holy Name Version Bible revised by A.B. Trainer, an Italian Hebrew. The Holy Name Bible reveals the true and correct name of the Heavenly Father and His Son. The name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh. His divine title is Elohim. The name of the Son is Yahshua, the Messiah, who the whole world erroneously calls Jesus Christ. Dr. Henry Clifford Kemp revealed to the world on his peace mission and within his publication the threefold tabernacle pattern that Yahweh Elohim revealed to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the year of 1490 UBY. And commanded Moses to build one in the wilderness of Sinai, which was the establishment of the Mosaic law and cardinal ordinances. Yahweh Elohim led the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, instituting the Passover. After 40 years in the wilderness of Sinai, Yahweh Elohim had commissioned Moses to place his hand upon Yahshua, the son of Nun, to give him charge to lead the people into Canaan's land. Before Moses had entered into Mount Nebo. 33 days later, Eleazar and the sons of Aaron, bearing the ark of the covenant, placed the soles of their feet upon the river Jordan and opened up like unto the Red Sea. Yahshua, the son of Nun, therefore commissioned 12 men of valor to retrieve 12 stones from the midst of the river Jordan, as a witness to Israel that Yahweh Elohim had opened up the Red Sea and the river Jordan to fulfill his promise to Father Abraham 430 years before the law, that the children of Israel would receive Canaan's land for their inheritance. Yahshua, therefore, the son of Nun, had numbered the children of Israel, confirming the covenant of circumcision, to Michael, captain of the host of Yahweh. Before their 40-year conquest and removal of the reproach of Egypt from the children of Israel, once they had entered into Canaan's land. 7 years after the 480 years after the children of Israel departed out of the land of Egypt, the foundation of this temple was laid. 7 years to the completion of this temple, in like manner, correlated to the 7 days of creation. And according to the 3 phenomenal days, it took 3 days to defer, a year for a day, that all the instruments that was within the tabernacle will be placed within the temple of King Solomon. This is a total of a 490-year cycle. The same divine service that was carried out pertaining to the law of Moses was carried out within the temple of King Solomon for 33 years before the invasion and destruction of Jerusalem and this temple by the king of Egypt, King Shishak. John, therefore, on the Epistle of Patmos, had bear witness that Yahshua is the true Messiah and the Lamb of Yahweh. John bears record that Yahshua had told the Pharisees and scribes of his day to destroy this temple and in 3 days I will raise it again. But he spoke of the temple of his body. In like manner, John had bear witness that when the centurion guard had pierced Yahshua within his side, that forthwith came blood and water. Yahshua therefore had offered his eternal spirit unto the Father one time by the operation of his death, burial, resurrection, his ascension, and outpouring of the Holy Spirit, which took place June 6, 33 AD, whereupon the 120 within the upper room was persecuted for preaching that Yahshua was the Messiah and the fulfillment of the law of Moses. In correlation to the 70 years of servitude and the disbursement of the children of Israel amongst the nation, that when the process of time, the Gentile nation will be engrafted into the body of the Messiah as one new man, by the preaching and believing in the faith that was once delivered unto the sons or children of Yahweh. These illustrations can be found on page 42 in the 1961 edition and page 69 in the 12th edition of God the Archetype Original Pattern of the Universe, called The Comparative Analyst or Apocalyptic Confirmation of Moses and John of the Creation. Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley gave us rules of engagement pertaining to this vision that the manifestation will change, but the principle will remain the same. That being said, study to show thyself approved, a workman who needs not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. And may the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, teach you all things. My aims and objectives are to help you find Yahshua the Messiah in your heart and in your mind. 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 5. 1 Corinthians 6, 17 through 20. And 2 Corinthians 3, 1 through 6. My second aim and objective is to show you how Yahweh wrote his laws in your inward parts. Jeremiah 31, 31, Hebrews 8, 10 through 13. My third aim and objective is to help you discern the sons of Elohim and the sons of the devil. 1 John 3, 1 John 3rd chapter, 1 John 4th chapter, verses 1 through 10. My fourth aim and objective is to show and prove that Yahshua is the true Elohim, whom Yahweh have sent. 1 John 5 and 20, John 17 and 3. My fifth aim and objective is to reveal that the children of faith in Yahshua the Messiah are the true seed of Abraham. Galatians 3 and 26 through verse 29. My sixth aim and objective is to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery which from the beginning of the age have been hid in Yahweh, who created all things by Yahshua the Messiah. Ephesians 3 and 9. My seventh aim is to endeavor to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bonds of peace. Ephesians 4 and 3. My eighth aim and objective is to press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yahweh in Yahshua the Messiah. Philippians 3 and 14. My ninth aim and objective is to make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the nation, which is the Messiah in you, the hope of glory. Colossians 1 and 27. My 10th aim and objective is proving the existence and destruction of Satan and his demons through the dispensation and ages. Romans 1:18 through verse 32 and Romans 2 verse 1 through 16. At this particular time, we'll be having a prayer, our scripture reading, announcement, our script ascertainment, perception, and direction exam. We'll choose a speaker. We'll have our doxology, which is Ephesians 3, verses 20 through 21. At this particular time, we will be having our prayer. Thank you, Heavenly Father Yahweh, once again, for another opportunity, Heavenly Father, to preach your beautiful gospel about the kingdom of Yahshua Messiah. Your servant is eternally grateful, Heavenly Father, and always, Heavenly Father, most humble, Heavenly Father, for the privilege, Heavenly Father, to be able to preach your gospel, Heavenly Father, because you have chosen me. This is one of the greatest honors, Heavenly Father, that any man, Heavenly Father, this blessing is greater than anything that can be bestowed upon a man, Heavenly Father, to have the gospel of the kingdom, the spirit, and the truth to manifest within his heart and his mind. I thank you, Heavenly Father, for all things. Keep me humble, Heavenly Father, and honored, Heavenly Father, to the privilege that you have given me. Have me fulfill in the spirit and the truth, Heavenly Father, in righteousness. For your praise, for your glory only, Yahshua. Not mine, not of any man, Heavenly Father, for none is greater than you. I ask, Heavenly Father, that my temple be pleasing for thy dwelling. I ask, Heavenly Father, that you allow all of your attributes, Heavenly Father, to manifest within my temple richly. Have me preach the gospel, Heavenly Father, as clear as you reveal it to me, as clear as air between me and the camera, for your glory. And may you be the speaker and not me. I ask these humble prayers, Heavenly Father, in the name of your only begotten Son, Yahshua. Hallelujah. At this particular time, we'll be having our scripture lesson, which will be read out of the Holy Name Version Bible, critically compared with ancient authorities and various manuscripts revised by Navy trainer. Yahshua promotions. We'll be reading 2 Timothy, the 4th chapter, and it reads as follows. I charge thee therefore before Yahweh and the Savior Yahshua the Messiah, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word, be instant in season and out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itchy ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall return unto fables. But watch thou in all things, endure affliction, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid for me, henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which Yahshua, who is the righteous judge, shall give me at that day. And not only me, but unto all them also that love his appearing. Do thy diligence to come shortly unto me. For Demas hath forsaken me, having loved this present age, and is departed unto Thessalonica. Crescens and Galatia, Titus, unto Dalmatia. Only Luke is with me. Take Mark and bring with thee, for he is very useful for me for the ministry. And Tychius have I sent to Ephesus, the cloak that I left at Taurus and Carpus. When thou comest, bring with thee the books, especially the parchments. Alexander the craftsman did me much evil. Yahweh, reward him according to his works. Be thou weary of him also, for he hath greatly withstood our words. At my first defense no man stood with me, but all men forsook me. I pray that it may not be laid to their charge. Notwithstanding, Yahweh stood with me and strengthened me, that by me the preaching might be fully known, and that all the nations might hear. And I was delivered out of the mouth of lions, and Yahweh shall deliver me from every evil work, and will preserve me unto his heavenly kingdom. to whom be glory forever and ever. Salute Priscilla and Aquila in the household of Onesiphorus. Eratus abode at Corinth, but Trophimus have I left at Malta, sick. Do thy best to come before winter. Ebullus greeteth thee, and Pudent, and Linus, and Claudia, and all the brethren. The Savior Yahshua the Messiah be with thy spirit. Grace be with you. I have read 2 Timothy 4th chapter. At this particular time, we'll have an announcement. Our announcements at this particular time is that the Oakland branch is presently closed until further notice. And Dr. Johnson will not be joining us this evening. And may Yahweh help him bless him in endeavors as well as Elder David will not be joining us this evening. So may Yahweh help him bless him in their endeavors as well. I would like to thank all of our viewers. I also thank you for your comments that you left on the message, whether they be good or bad. I would like to thank you. As well, if you are a member of the Institute of Divine Metaphysical Research and you have just joined our site and you have not by now have went and seen the first 42 lectures, that I recommend that you go back and look at the first 42 lectures, because within them we go through the whole entire purpose from beginning to end pertaining to all of the charts and the 40-plate chart that we have within our school system, using our textbooks as well as the rest of the books that we have within our school system to bring forth the truth of our founder, Dr. That being said, that will conclude all of our lectures, and that will allow us to go into our ecologies for this particular class. So at this particular time, we will be going to our first ecology, which brings us to the East Coast, to New York. It says here that New York fire, at least 19 killed in an apartment block blaze, including 9 children have died. Another 32 people were sent to the hospital. Several of whom are in critical condition, according to the New York Mayor, Eric Adams. Fire Department Commissioner Daniel Nigro said that he found victims on every floor of the 19-story block, saying the smoke was very unprecedented. He told NBC how the death toll was the worst seen in New York for 30 years. It comes days after an apartment fire in Philadelphia killed 12, with 8 children among the dead. Sunday fire broke out in an apartment that spanned the 2nd and 3rd floor of the Bronx apartment block at about 11 local time. Officials said that 200 firefighters were sent to tackle the blaze. which officials believe was sparked by a malfunctioning electrical heater. Commissioner Nigro said that there were 2 floors of fire, but the smoke has spread everywhere. The door to the apartment where the fire started was left open, and smoke then spread to every floor. Commissioner Nigro told reporters, members found victims on every floor in the stairwell and were taking them out in cardiac and respiratory arrest. He said, George King, who lives nearby, told AFP news agency people were waving from the windows as the flames took hold. I saw the smoke. A lot of people were panicking, he said. You could see that no one wanted to jump from the building. A total of 63 people suffered injuries, including 32 taken to hospital. 13 are in critical condition. Stephen Ringo, a senior advisor to the mayor, told AP News Agency, the impact of this fire is going to bring a level of pain and despair to our city. Mr. Adams told reporters, the numbers are horrific. New York Governor Kelly Hochul called Sunday's event a night of tragedy and pledged to create a victims' compensation fund to support survivors. There will be money to find new housing, burial costs, and whatever we need, because that's what we do here in New York. Ms. Hochul said, the area of the Bronx where the fire occurred is home to a large Muslim immigration population, and many of those affected by the blaze are believed to have originally come to the U.S. from the Gambia. Mr. Adams urged everyone impacted by the fire to seek assistance from the authorities, irrespective of immigration status. He assured residents that their details would not be passed on to immigration services. Speaking alongside Mr. Adams, New York Senator Chuck Schumer pledged to provide immigration support to allow families to come together to grieve. The buildings host a number of affordable housing apartments, and the blaze is likely to raise question over the quality of such units in the city. Representative Richie Torres, a Democratic lawmaker whose district includes the building, told the U.S. New York MSNBC that developments such as the Bronx fire pose safety risks to residents. When we allow our affordable housing developments to be plagued by decades of disinvestments, we are putting lives at risk, Mr. Torres said. Now here, with this particular ecology, what we do is that firstly and foremost, what we always do is that we always authenticate the divine vision and revelation of our founder, Dr. Henry Clifford Kelly. And what we do is is that when we look at this particular ecology, and it says that here we have a New York fire that at least killed 19 individuals in the block blaze, including 9 children and another 32 people were sent to the hospital, of whom are in critical condition, according to the New York Mayor, Eric Adams. Now, when we look at this particular ecology, what we're going to do is that in the process of authenticating the divine vision and revelation of our founder, Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley, what we're going to do for this particular introduction to the ecologies to authenticate the divine vision and revelation, what we're going to do is that we're going to come to the vision of the Ishi, which is directly behind the divine vision and revelation of our founder. In so doing this, in retrospect, we run the principles of what's being said within this particular ecology. And then what we will be doing is basing it upon the law and prophets and the foundation of when Moses had first received his vision upon Mount Sinai. And what we will be doing is running the ramifications from these particular principles, from the Ishi back into the divine vision of our founder, Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley, to authenticate and substantiate the foundation which is given to our founder by his divine vision and revelation. Now it says here that in New York that they had a fire and at least 19 individuals burned up pertaining to a block blaze. So what happens is, what we do is that we come here to divine vision and revelation, which is being revealed, that when we come here to the principles of the World Trade Center, which we understand it happened at 9/11. And this particular event happened in the city of New York. Now, the principle that you see pertaining to the World Trade Center, and based upon when we come here, and it says that there was a block blaze, and how that it was a New York fire. So therefore, it brings us right back to New York to show you principles of a massive fire, because this was a very big fire. And we understand pertaining to the incident that happened on 9/11 that it was a very, very significant fire. So therefore, we come here and we look at these particular principles here. And when we come here and we look at the principles of the fire that had manifested within the work, come here and we're looking at these particular principles, that here with both of these particular buildings, that these buildings were principled as the table of stone, that Moses had went up into Mount Sinai to receive of Yahweh Elohim after he had transmutated himself from Yahshua, the son of Nun, to reveal to Moses that he was the creator of the stellar universe, which we see manifesting right here. And so therefore, this is principle as Moses being upon Mount Sinai, as we have Moses manifesting on the divine vision and revelation of our founder, manifesting right here. We have Moses manifesting himself within the fiery cloud. Now, as I said, based upon, we're looking at the principles of this particular blaze, okay, which was, it says, a block blaze, okay? So therefore, when we're looking at this particular principle of a block blaze, that therefore we're looking at how that principle as this particular vision is in a block form, okay, to show you the principles of how we have the fire going all the way around the edges of this particular chart, is to show you principles of how that, based upon this New York fire, where it says at least 19 individuals based upon this apartment, including 9 children, have been killed because it was principled as a block blaze. So therefore, we look at this particular vision, and it is in block form. So therefore, based upon that, that we understand that how we see the fire going all the way around the edges of this particular chart is because we come here to the principle of the end, based upon when Yahshua the Messiah had went through the principles of his death, his burial, and his resurrection. Okay, which manifests right here, and then show you his ascension and the outpouring of his Holy Spirit that had manifested on June 6th. Now, when we look at this particular principle that is said that it had manifested on Sunday, now when we come here and we look at the principles here, and we come to the divine vision and revelation that's being revealed, that based upon this particular event that took place on Sunday, and when we come here that we show you that pertaining to the events that took place, that when we come here and show you the principles of the resurrection principles of Yahshua, the Messiah, and we come right here, revealing to you these particular principles of the resurrection of Yahshua, the Messiah, that we understand that it had took place, the principle of the 300th part of Sunday morning's resurrection, so therefore it took its residence early, see Sunday morning when Yahshua had resurrected from the grave, okay? And so therefore, when we look at this particular principle, and it says that this particular blaze said that it had took place at 11 o'clock local time, okay? So what we do is that based upon this particular blaze that had taken place at 11 o'clock local time, that when we look at the principles of time factors within that, and we see how that this will allow this particular blaze to have taken place within the 3rd hour. And therefore, pertaining to the watches, that this would be the 2nd watch where this particular blaze, based upon the time frame that is revealed, is given. So therefore, it was the 3rd hour and the 2nd watch when this particular blaze had manifested. So when we come here and see, based upon the 300th part of the Sunday morning resurrection, to show that before, that right after this particular event, just in the basis of how this had happened early Sunday morning, that how this particular fire had broke loose. Now we look at this particular principles of how we would come here and we look at this particular tree of knowledge of good and of evil, and we see based upon the resurrection of the Messiah, how this particular tree is being caught on fire, okay? Which would almost appear that the origin or the origination of this particular blaze would take place from this particular tree that fell after the resurrection of the Messiah. But what we have revealed to you that based upon the resurrection or the death of the Messiah that had initiated the end is the reason that we see the fire going all the way around. So when we're looking at this particular tree of knowledge of good and of evil, okay, based upon Sunday, a fire that had manifested at 11 o'clock, what happens is that it allows us to be able to come here. We share with you the principles of 1 and 1, okay, because this is the principles of a Roman numeral of 2. So therefore, when we see here pertaining to the origin or the beginning of this particular fire that is manifesting right here, based upon the principles of what we revealed to you, that is being the end, okay, based upon the principles of it being the end of the age and of the 3rd age, going into the 4th age, that when we come here, revealing to you these particular principles, when Yahshua had given up the ghost or made the ultimate sacrifice as the Lamb of Yahweh to offer himself unto the Father for the sins of the whole entire world, that this is going back to show you based upon the principles of how Yahshua had came in to fulfill the principles of the law of Moses, which based upon these 2 buildings, that when we're looking at the principles of the block blaze, that when we come here, that this is revealing the principles of the destruction of the satanic foundation that has manifested right here based upon the 2 tables of stones that are manifested as these 2 buildings, which perpetuated a blaze right here that burned the whole entire block. Okay, so therefore, when we look at this, it's the representation of Yahshua Messiah of how he fulfilled these particular principles of the law and prophets and the destruction of the satanic foundation, because we share with you that we are within the kingdom of Yahshua the Messiah, and Yahshua is bringing flaming vengeance upon the whole entire world, or those who know not Yahweh. So therefore, we have been sharing with you based upon all of the plagues that have been manifesting upon the face of the world and the destruction and the demise that the world is in today, that these are the things based upon the wrath of Yahshua the Messiah upon the whole entire world, that all those individuals who have lived delicately with the harlot. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, Yahshua the Messiah is bringing flaming vengeance on those who know him not. So now when we're looking at this particular principle based upon how it says that the blaze that took place at 11 o'clock, when we come here to look at the Roman numerical number of 2, which looks like 11, to show you how that the blaze originated based upon the soul when Yahshua had given up the ghost unto the Father, to show how that with the principles of the volcano and it erupted from the bottom, coming through the magma chambers all the way up to erupt at the top part of the volcano to allow this fiery amber to go all the way around the edges of this chart. So therefore, when we're looking at the most hot or heated principle that we're looking at based upon the principles on the chart is one that we come here, okay, as well as we come here, because what this is showing the establishment of the satanic foundation establishing itself within the court roundabout and the destruction and the demise of it, based upon the principles of how Yahshua the Messiah had resurrected, and his spirit was the spirit to fill the whole entire earth. So therefore, when we come back here to see the origin of that, based upon we're looking at the principles of the destruction of Egypt, as well as we're looking at the principle of the destruction of the tree of knowledge of good and of evil as the building, you understand what I'm saying, that was set on fire pertaining to the principles of the whole entire block. So based upon, I want you to understand what I'm saying, based upon this particular fire, okay, that had manifested within the Bronx, okay, this principle, okay, as the destruction of the kingdom of Satan, okay? Now what happens is that the Creator uses his creation and his creatures to preach his gospel so that everyone can understand that everything that happens based upon the whole entire world has already been written, okay, based upon what we understand to be as the Holy Bible, as the scriptures. And what happens is that based upon how the founder said that the manifestation will change, but the principle will remain the same, is that everything that happened, which we understand to be as news, are the ecologies based upon the principles, okay, that has already happened with the story of the Hebrew nation to bring forth the principles of the Messiah into the world, you understand? And so therefore, based upon those things are the principles to where now the reflect are the manifestations of what take place from this particular time all the way down to where we are now, okay, because all of them originated here. So the principles of what are manifesting is no more than which had manifested about the scriptures. So therefore, we see these things perpetuate continually, okay, within the creation as a witness unto our Creator, that everything that happened is witnesses and testifying of him and his purpose. So now when we come back here and we're looking at how, as I said, that it says that that this particular blaze had killed 19 individuals, and it was principled as it says 9 children was a part of the 19 individuals that was killed. Now, when we come here and before I address those particular principles, and I shared with you based upon the how the blaze took place at 11 and how it originated here. I picked up those particular principles of how it originated in New York. That when we look at the principles of how it said 32 people, okay? So what we must do is that what we're going to do is address the principle of how it says that another 32 people were sent to the hospital. And it says several whom are in critical condition. Now, when we look at the principle of how it says the 32 individuals were placed within the hospital, that we look at the principles of 3 and 2. So what we do is that when we come to the third day of creation, that when we come here and we're looking at here, when we're looking at the seed of vegetation pertaining to the principles of Father Abraham, based upon here how we have the seed of the Jews and the seed of the Gentiles. Now all these things are pertaining to the principles of the second seed, which is principle as the Gentile nation. So therefore, this allows us to be able to come here, okay? Because this is showing you the principles of how that we have one new man within Yahshua the Messiah, and it's irregardless if he is a Jew or a Gentile, because we are one new man within him, okay? Now, when we come here and we look at this, it says that it says how Mr. The commissioner, Daniel Nigro, said that he had found victims on every floor of the 19th-story block, okay? So therefore, he says that on every story of this particular building, that he says that he found someone on every floor, okay? And said that the smoke was precedented, okay? So therefore, when we're looking at this particular blackness that's within court roundabout of this particular chart, it said how the smoke was unprecedented, that we come here and we see this particular thick darkness, that we understand that darkness represents, has principles of death, ignorance, destruction, and those particular nature, because of those particular, and the things of those particular characteristics which consist within it pertaining to this particular satanic creature and his one-third host that followed him. That's within these everlasting chains of darkness. Okay, so now when we look at these particular things, and he's talking about that how the smoke was unprecedented, that one of the individuals said that the smoke was so dark. Now, from me to the camera, okay, we're just looking at from me to you, that when the individual was in the interview said that the smoke and that was so black and thick that from me to you that we could not see one another. That's how thick the black smoke was that was within this particular apartment building once it was on fire. And that's how unprecedented the particular smoke was to this particular flame. Now here it says that Mr. Nigro said that this was the worst fire that has happened, that he has seen within the 30 years of him being a firefighter. So pertaining to the principles that he said this was the worst seen within 30 years, that we understand that it brings us to the principles here based upon these particular 30 pieces of silver, because we understand that pertaining to the principle of these 30 pieces of silver, that it was purchased the field of Al-Sadama, which was the field of blood, okay? So now we understand that he said that this was one of the worst fires that he has ever seen within 30 years, okay? Because once we come through this particular ecology to where it says here, and I'm just going how that the spirit leads me. It says here that that Representative Richie Torres, a democratic lawmaker, whose districts include the building, told the U.S. network of MSNBC that developments, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't a statement, I do apologize. I believe it was a comment from Mr. Adams when he had said he urged everyone impacted by the fire to seek assistance from the authorities, irrespective of immigration status. But the point that I am trying to gather, that I will go back and I will reiterate once I come back across that. I'm not going to rush myself because it was a principle there. Because it was talking about how that it doesn't make a difference how much that it costs. Oh, here it is here. It says here that that New York Governor Kathy Hochul called Sunday's event a night of tragedy, okay? So now that brings us back to this particular darkness that's going all the way around the edge of this particular chart to show you how the governor of New York is saying that Sunday night's event was a tragic event and pledged to create a victims compensation fund to support survivors. It says there will be money to find new housing, burial costs, and whatever we need, because that's what we do here in New York. So therefore, when it's talking about that we have money, money to fund new housing, okay, that brings us right back here pertaining to the principles of the 30 pieces of silver that Judas had earned to betray Yahshua, the son, Yahshua, the Messiah, by the priests, okay, that had manifested up here within Jerusalem, according to Ananias, the high priest, and those of his particular council. So they had paid Judas 30 pieces of silver to betray Yahshua. All right. So this is the reason why that is saying that there will be money. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is manifesting the principles of the field of blood pertaining to how it's talking about this particular block blaze that had manifested based upon the 19 stories. So this is the reason why that we come here and we look at these particular principles based upon how he said that this was the worst fire that he has seen in 30 years. So that keeps us principled here based upon the principles as the court roundabout. Now, when we look at these particular things and we come here and look at the fiery ambit manifested all the way around the edges of the chart, of the divine vision and revelation of our founder. And we share with you the principles based upon 11, okay, picking up the principles of the tables of stone. Now, when we come here to the divine vision and revelation of our founder, and what we do is based upon those particular principles, is what we do is that we reveal here and show you how that based upon these two particular buildings are picking up the principles of the 2 tables of stone that was given unto Moses. Now, Moses was angry when he came down from the mountain and he received these tables of stone, because when he left off, he seen how that the man and the woman was left off in harmony, okay, based upon after the man was created from the dust of the ground. And then after that, he seen how the Yahweh element opened up the man and taken out a rib and a womb and created the woman, and the man and the woman was left in perfect harmony, okay? And then the other 33 days that Yahweh Elohim has revealed to Moses the construction of this particular threefold tabernacle pattern. Now, when Moses goes back and enters back into the mountain to receive these particular stones, and after he's seen the glory of Yahweh Elohim and heard this, when he's seen the error of the children of Israel, how they broke the commandments of Yahweh, how that way created this golden calf, and Yahweh spoke that thou shalt have no other deity besides me, and the people turned aside from worshiping Yahweh Elohim, that Moses broke these particular stones, okay? Went down, grinded up this particular deity, roasted it with fire and put it within the people. And then he said that he had to make an atonement for the sins of the particular people. Now, when he went down there, he told the Levites, you understand what I'm saying, to gather their swords. You understand what I'm saying? And therefore, it says how they went throughout the camp, okay? And they slew every man his brother and every man his neighbor. All right. So therefore, when you look at the principles of how it's talking about within this particular 19-story building, okay, and when we're looking at these particular principles of how that it says that 19 individuals were killed, okay, and then how it was 19 stories, and how the commissioner, Mr. Daniel Nigro, said that he found individuals on every floor. You understand? So when we look at these particular principles, okay, now we understand that when we come to this intangible tabernacle pattern, that we have 9 furnishings, meaning that within every compartment, because there are 3 compartments, that we have 3 furnishings in every compartment. And so therefore, this is one tabernacle, okay, with 9 furnishings within it. And this is the reason why that when the commissioner of the fire department said that he found somebody on every floor of the 19-story apartment complex, is because that this is one tabernacle with 9 furnishings manifesting within it. So therefore, just how that there were furnishings everywhere within these three compartments, this is the reason why this apartment plays that there were individuals, okay, manifesting as many tabernacles on all 19 floors, because the manifestation has changed, but is revealing the same principle, okay? So this is the reason why that we come here to show you this particular principle here, okay? So that you will be able to understand how that there were 19 individuals on every floor. Now it says that there were 9 children, okay, that had died. The 9 children, as I set up and shared with you, are based upon the 9 furnishings, okay, that manifest within the tabernacle. But what you must understand that there are two tabernacles, because there are 2 bodies, okay? Number one, there is the body of Yahshua the Messiah, who we understand to be Elon, okay, who is the revelation, okay, which is 888. And therefore, Yahshua the Messiah, or Yahweh, our Elohim, says that Aya Asher Aya, I will be what I will to be, okay, to those who are lost, who are manifesting themselves within darkness, that he has revealed and gave them a delusion. So based upon, we're showing you how there are 2 mysteries in operation according to Yahweh Elohim's purpose, okay? Because what we want to do is just show it to you on both, okay? Here, we're showing you Elohim here, we have Elohim here, okay? Then we have the line manifesting right here, okay, which is manifesting the dotted line. And then we have principles of the illusion, or he who is in darkness, likened unto this chaotic creature that is here. So therefore, you got Elohim at 888 here, okay? And then you have Lucifer, okay, or Satan manifesting right here. Now, as we go here and we look at this, and then we look at the principles of the tabernacle, which is in reference to the feminine portion of each one of these particular mysteries, that when we come here and look at the tabernacle pattern, and we're revealing to you the 7 steps, okay? As well as when we come here and we look at the 7 steps, okay, of the mystery of iniquity. Now, pertaining to Yahweh Elohim, he is the host of righteousness, the healer, or provider, the banner, the shepherd, and he is the Sabbath, or the rest, okay? And all of this is within righteousness. Now, when you come here to the tabernacle of iniquity, you have the accuser, the beast. He's a liar, a man of sin, a murderer, the anointed cherubim, and the God of this world. So therefore, when you're looking at all these particular principles that are manifesting here within the court around about, okay, that these are the principles that are manifesting, that you see all the way around the edges of this particular chart, that's manifesting here within darkness, okay? Now, when you're looking at the destruction and all these particular things, and you're looking at these particular 9, the principles of the 9 children, that what happens is that that's based upon the 9 furnishings that are manifesting here within this particular tabernacle of darkness, okay? And what this is doing is showing you principles of how that is coming all the way up as the God of this particular world. Now, you're saying, you know, if you're listening, you're saying, well, you know, don't you think that that's kind of cruel? You're talking about this 9 innocent children who was amongst, you understand what I'm saying, the dead. Now, what I'm doing is explaining to you the principles so that you may understand. And so therefore, when we look at the principles of death, you understand, and we come here. And then it's talking about how that there were 9 innocent children, and we're looking at the furnishings, that you have to understand that the furnishings that were made within this particular tabernacle was made out of brass and made out of gold, which are the pure elements, okay, that come out of the earth, okay? So when we're looking at this as well, going back to the principles of, like I said, 19 stories, he said there was 19 on every story. There was principle that he found individuals on all particular levels, that is to pick up the principles of the 1 and the 9, okay? Now, when we look at the principles of how it says the loss of the 9 children, now when we come back to that, we must come to the prophecy of Yahshua the Messiah and come here, all right, within the outer court. Now we understand that based upon the plagues that had happened within Egypt, that the 10th plague was death of the firstborn. So therefore, when we look at these particular principles, okay, that had manifested right here, pertaining to when we come here to the divine vision and revelation of our founder, that our founder has shared with us, that when the stench darkness had manifested, which I do believe which was the ninth plague, that based upon this going into the night on Sunday, that is bringing us right back down here to the land of Egypt based upon the principle of the ninth and 10th plague, because we understand that the 10th plague was the death of the firstborn within Egypt that did not have the blood, okay, of a lamb on the lintel, different from the basin on the lintel, and the two side posts different from a basin, okay, within the door on the inside of the house, okay, down here within the stricken Black Egypt, okay. Now we come here, we look at the principles that are manifesting right here that originated from the divine vision and revelation of our founder, because we always come here to be able to authenticate that. Now, the principle of the death of the children goes back to here based upon the death of the firstborn, okay, that happened down here within the land of Egypt. Now, all the firstborn, okay, those are down here within the land of Egypt, even with the children of Israel, as well as the Egyptians, that if they did not have the blood within the door, that the firstborn within that particular house had died, okay? So based upon the darkness, okay, that is manifesting down here, and then the principle of how it says that the smoke was unprecedented, okay, or preceded it, okay, meaning that the darkness that you could not see your hand right in front of your face, and from the individuals who were within the fire said that that's how thick that this particular black smoke was. And so therefore, based upon how that the last plague of Egypt that had manifested the principle of the 10th plague and the firstborn children died down here within the land of Egypt, that it says 19. So when we're looking at the 10th plague, okay, so that means that there were 10 adults, okay, that have taken off the veil of the flesh, opposed to the 9 children that had manifested down here. Now 9, based upon the numerical system, is the number of completion. So therefore, based upon the principles of what's manifesting here within the court roundabout and the destruction of Satan's kingdom, and based upon we share with you all these particular principles that's within this particular ecology, based upon this 19-story block blaze, okay, that it is showing you that is no more but not the remanifestation, but it is a manifestation and a principle based upon what happened down here within the land of Egypt. Now, like I said, that all the firstborn of the children down here within the land of Egypt, based upon this black stricken darkness, you understand what I'm saying, died, okay, because that was the last plague of Egypt. Now, based upon the dark smoke that was talked about that had manifested within this particular blaze that happened within New York, that the completion or fulfillment of that, because 9 is the number of completion, that this is the reason why that 9 children had to die, to fulfill the principles of how that the last plague that happened, that the 10th devastating plague that happened within the land of Egypt, that it took the firstborn here. This is the reason why that you see Yahshua down here manifesting here within the stench and darkness of Egypt. Though Yahshua the Messiah, when he went through his death, burial, resurrection, or it was principled as death, okay, it manifested up here within Jerusalem. But yet and still you have Yahshua down here within the land of Egypt, because this is principled as spiritual Egypt. Now, when you're looking at the principles, okay, to show you how that Yahweh Elohim is not a respecter of persons, and as well, you understand what I'm saying, according to Yahweh Elohim's purpose, that here is Yahshua down here in spiritual Egypt. Now, this is the first begotten or firstborn, or the only begotten of Yahweh Elohim, okay, so first and only. So therefore, when you have Yahshua, okay, he's the only begotten of Yahweh Elohim, and you have Yahshua down here within spiritual Egypt, that you see in how this is the firstborn of Yahweh Elohim, and this being spiritual Egypt, and this is Yahshua dying down here within the land of Egypt, just how the firstborn, okay, died down here within Egypt, who didn't have the blood on the door. So therefore, this is Yahshua manifesting himself as a double principle, okay, as the door, to where the 4 points of blood had to be on there, so that the death angel, okay, would skip this particular house, and death wouldn't come unto that particular house where none died. But yet and still you see how Yahshua is principled as the door. And then he manifested the only begotten son of Yahweh Elohim. So therefore he died along with the other children. You understand what I'm saying? That died down here based upon the 10th devastating plague within Egypt. You understand? Because Yahshua had to fulfill that, okay, on both sides.
Yahshua had to fulfill both mysteries, those of that of righteousness, those of that of unrighteousness, because he is the creator. You understand what I'm saying? Of both mysteries that are manifesting right within him. You understand what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want you to say, well, that Yahshua cannot manifest principles of duplicity, nor the principles of evil. This is true, but Yahshua will fulfill all principles according to him based upon his purpose, okay? So therefore, since it had manifested down here and Yahshua had manifested the principles as Yahshua, the son of Nun, and came up out of the land of Egypt, principle as, okay, the son out of Egypt I have called my son, but yet and still when we come back here and this being the Lamb of Yahweh, he must fulfilled the principles of how they took out of lamb from the 14th unto the 15th. Based upon we understand that this is what the time they put Yahshua upon the cross was at the same time that the Passover was manifested when Yahweh Elohim said that this shall be the first day of the month unto you and take out a lamb. So therefore this is your lamb. Because the time that they did this, okay, that happened and manifested at the beginning of the fourth dispensation within the third age. And this was the result that had happened at the end. So therefore, when we say to you that the end was declared from the beginning, that this is one of the principles that you're seeing down here, according to the divine vision and revelation that was given to our founder to authenticate the principles of what you are hearing based upon this particular ecology. So therefore, we must see how, based upon the 9 children, that lost their lives within this particular fire, was to fulfill and show you the principle of how that the 10th devastating plague that had manifested down here within the land of Egypt, that it was cost of the life of the firstborn of the children that had manifested down here. 9 is a number of completion. So therefore, we're showing you how this particular principle is showing a completion of based upon the things that happened down here within the land of Egypt, to show you how Yahshua fulfilled it by giving up his life down here within the land of Egypt principle as the children which lost their lives to fulfill how the firstborn, you understand what I'm saying, was taken down here within the land of Egypt. And I hope that I was clear. So I wanted to go back and run these ramifications so that you would be able to understand the principle of the children, you understand what I'm saying, that had lost their lives, okay? Because it was based upon the 10 devastating plagues that happened down here within the land of Egypt. And that's the reason why that there were 10 adults or 10 older, and based upon it says how it was 9 children, okay? 9 was a number of completion, and then 10 is the 10 elders or the 10 older individuals who lost their lives was based upon the 10 devastating plagues that had happened down here, and to show you how that with the smoke or the smoke that was so dark, you understand what I'm saying, and so black to where they couldn't see each other, you understand what I'm saying, because the people that were within the fire said that the smoke was so thick that all we could do was hear each other. We could not see each other. We had to feel to touch because the smoke was so thick and dark in front of us. You understand what I'm saying? Nor could we breathe. So therefore, that's picking up these particular principles here. Now, when we come back to the chart that's being revealed, and it says how that there were 63 individuals, okay, based upon there were 13 individuals that were critically injured with respiratory problems, okay? What happens is that when we look at the principles of 63, okay, that we come right here to the chart to show you the principle of how that Yahshua had to come through 63 generations of the flesh. So therefore, principle, when we come here to the outer court, because all of these things are manifesting within the court roundabout, that it brings us right back here, all right? And showing you the principles of right here pertaining to the 63 generations based upon what Yahweh Elohim had told Father Abraham, that if you can count the stars of heaven or the sands of the seas, I shall multiply thy seed. So therefore, this is the children of Israel, okay, after a certain amount of time, because Yahweh said that 400 years, you understand what I'm saying, that I shall bring your seed up out of the land of Egypt. They should be persecuted by a nation that they know not of, okay? So therefore, this is the reason why that you got the correct time glass, because this is the essence pertaining to the fourth dispensation of the fulfillment of the promise that Yahweh Elohim had given to Father Abraham, that this is the reason why that this time glass is cracked. Here is a manifestation of the children of Israel coming up out of the land of Egypt, principle as the Red Sea. But as you see the Red Sea, which is manifesting the 63 generation, or the blood of Yahshua Messiah, okay, principle here, all right? And what we would do is come back so that you can be able to grasp this particular principle, okay, that we share with you, that based upon the 63 generations of Yahshua the Messiah, all right, that when we come here, And we looked at the principles based upon what John said that John said that he seen when he witnessed how the centurion guard had pierced Yahweh within the side and out forth came blood. Okay, and all the principles that you see here with the red, here with the red, okay, coming all the way down here is the principle as the blood of Yahshua, the Messiah. And then therefore, when you're looking at the blue portion, okay, that is also witness pertaining to the principles of what was said that when he was pierced in the side, that out forth came blood and water. So therefore, this is the blood and water of the Messiah to cleanse the world based upon of the vanity that we were subjected to unwillingly by the darkness within the court round about us, going all the way around the edges of this particular chart. All right, so we look at these particular principles. So based upon the blood that came out, the blood and water that came out of the Messiah, it comes down here to look at the principles of the 63 generations of the blood that came through all the way from Adam to Abraham, all the way up into the Messiah. So this is the 63 generations, and the blood of the Messiah, or the blood of the 63 generations that the Messiah had came to. This is what you're looking at. Now, based upon when they pierced him in the side and out forth came blood and water, and it's coming down here, picking up the principles of the 63 generations, that you see that here, that the blood flows right here, it creates the principles of fire, because these are those who are kicking up and killing the Messiah afresh based upon the principles of what the Messiah had done to fulfill the law and the prophets. And that's the reason why that we have both 1-1 here, okay, as a second Adam, to show you that it was 11 o'clock when this particular blaze had manifested to burn this particular block blaze. So, and that's what you're seeing all the way around the edges of this particular chart, okay? It says that it says it took 200 firefighters, okay, that was called, all right? Now, we share with you based upon when it says anything about 200 or the number of 20, that takes us back to the numerical alphabet of the Hebrew hieroglyphics of the alphabet of Resh, okay, according to the Hebrew alphabet and the Hebrew hieroglyphics. That takes us to the alphabet of Resh, which its numerical number is principle as 200. Now, this particular alphabet, now based upon everything according to the mysteries of Yahweh, everything has two meanings. It has a righteous meaning and it has an unrighteous meaning, okay? Now, pertaining to the principles of rest, looking at the principle of 200, let me see if I can find this particular principle. I would ask you to bear with me. Because one thing about it is that we are a research organization dedicated to showing proof the existence of Yahweh, or Elohim. And here, I found it right here. So the principle of Resh would be principle right here, okay? And I just want to come up and show you, all right? So that's the principle of Resh based upon the numerical Hebrew alphabet, okay, hieroglyphic, all right? And then we're showing you the principle of Resh, right? Oops, I'm sorry, right here, okay? And so therefore, like I said, this numerical number is 20 and 200. So what we're going to do is that we're going to come here and define what the positive part of Resh says, because what it says pertaining to the destruction part of Resh is that it's like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour, okay? And so therefore that's pertaining to all the principles that are manifesting right here all the way around the edges of this particular chart as the principles of the court round about, and showing you how this particular beast here is as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. So therefore the principle of 200 is a negative principle. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning the destruction of anybody who is innocent, you understand what I'm saying, and vulnerable within the world. So that's what this is manifesting based upon these particular principles that's manifesting right here when it is talking about how that there were 200 firefighters, you understand? Now, as well, when we come and we look at the principles of Resh, it says that Resh in Hebrew is the resurrection. It says, this song is our prayer with the spirit of Elohim in us, all right? We are grieved by the state and condition of the world today, okay? And look forward
to the dawn of the new day and the change of these vile bodies as promised. We are looking for a speedily deliverance to everlasting life in an immortal body likened unto his. All right? Now, did you hear those particular words? So therefore, it is shouldn't have shared with you how that rest in Hebrew is pertaining to the resurrection of Yahshua the Messiah. So therefore, just like how we have shared with you, when we come back here to the divine vision and revelation that was being revealed, and we were sharing with you the principles that when we come here to this particular tree, you understand what I'm saying? And see, these are the things that I find just so beautiful, you know, and I really do not want to come up out of the spirit that when I'm seeing these beautiful ramifications that I tell you that they are just phenomenal. All right. Now we share with you in our opening statements that we came here to this particular tree to show you that this is the 300th part of Sunday morning's resurrection pertaining to the principle of the resurrection of Yahshua Messiah. Okay, and we're showing you that principle right here within this malefic tree, okay, that was above the lion's head, that was cut away by the law and prophets, okay, which is allowing the individual who used to have a physical understanding is now having a spiritual enlightenment because the principles that Yahshua came in to fulfill all the principles of the law, which were all things that were physical and natural. So this is the reason why that you had this particular physical tree above the lion's head of the Messiah pertaining to the principles of how Yahshua Messiah had manifested himself within the flesh. So now when Yahshua Messiah resurrect, he didn't resurrect the physical individual pertaining to the principles of the flesh that you see here and that you see here. You understand what I'm saying? He resurrected a quickening spirit, okay, pertaining to the principles of the spirit. That's why you no longer see this physical tree above his head and you have the tree of life, okay, above his head here, which is manifesting principles of spiritual things, all right? So this is the reason why that when we come here, all right, and it says that this in Hebrew is the resurrection. So this is showing you that principle, how the Messiah had resurrected and pertaining to everything that had manifested based upon what we showed you, what the Messiah came in to fulfill that happened within the law of Moses that is taking you back to show you these particular things. When we come all the way back here, all right, to show you how Yahshua is over here with the spiritual Egypt based upon the same particular principles of what we're running and showing you that's going all the way around the edges of this chart that we're coming here showing you Yahshua on the cross down here within the land of Egypt, within the darkness, and showing you the same principles that are manifesting with his resurrection that's manifesting right here. You understand? Okay, because the same principles are manifesting right here on the chart of the Father, okay? And showing you right here, if you understand the principles, how when Yahshua had resurrected after his death, burial, and resurrected, death, burial, and resurrection, that when you look at here, the body of the sons of Elohim resurrected, that they are resurrecting in image like unto this tabernacle, which we understand what John has seen, how it was a tree here on this side. Oops, can't see that. Come back for this thing's beautiful. I love these things. They're just fantastic. Okay. John said that when he looked, he said he's seen a tree, okay, on either side of the river, okay? And our founder has shared with us based upon how I showed you, if you go to page 69 in the 12th edition or page 49 in the 19th, no, I had that wrong. The 69 page in the 12th edition, page 42 in the first edition, okay? How John on the Isle of Patmos said that he's seen a tree on either side of the river. Our founder had revealed to us when John was looking back at this based upon he is confirming what Moses had written in the beginning, how that this particular tabernacle was principled as the tree of life. One on this side of the river Jordan and one on this side, okay? So when you see the sons of Elohim resurrecting with Yahshua Messiah, that they're resurrecting like this particular tabernacle, that these are manifesting principles as trees. You understand what I'm saying? And they resurrected as a tree pertaining to the tree of life are resurrecting that is manifesting down here within, like I said, principle as the land of Egypt. And if you look, it's manifesting as green, okay? Why? Because it's taking you back to the biosphere of principles that had manifested within the garden. Because when you come here and look at it, you have the green grass and the flowers resurrecting right here on the chart, because in the beginning that we see how they were taken away. We showed you those particular principles on the 40-page chart of our family, which we will come back and show you these same fundamental principles.
because we were taught to prove all things. And what I had just read to you is that we must always validate, you understand, our ministry. So what I must do is show you that how within the beginning, when we go back to the man and the woman, how they were within perfect harmony, okay? And we come here, all right, and show you these particular principles that are manifesting right here on the divine vision and revelation of our founder, to where here, when we're showing you the Adamic transgression, when you look on the ground, okay, down here, how you have flowers manifesting all on the ground within the grass, okay? So this is in the beginning before their first touch, before he is partaking of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and of evil, how Satan is dictating the woman to give to her husband. So now when we come down here, because this is a descending plate and the man is being kicked up out of the garden, this is Lucifer over the woman. Now, when they're getting kicked out of the garden, this is Michael, okay, showing, kicking them out and having a sword within his hand. And that's the fiery sword that's turning every which way so that they cannot partake of the tree of life. Here is Satan manifesting as a serpent upon the tree, and he is coming out of the garden when Michael was kicking the man and a woman up out of the garden. Now that the man and woman is dead, and you see here how they were naked and not ashamed. After the transgression, you understand what I'm saying, how it says that Yahweh Elohim had clothed them. You understand what I'm saying? Here they're clothed, and now this is the principle of them being physical or dead because they're no longer within their spiritual state of consciousness. That if you notice here, that how there is flowers and they're naked, that here when they have clothes on, that there's no flowers. You understand what I'm saying? And this is pertaining to their principles of their death. And then you see down here that the man has to till the ground now on his own from the sweat of his brow. This is how the man is going to eat. So when we come back over here to look at the principles of Yahshua Messiah, that here, when we come here to show you the principles of his death, sorry. It's just like how we show pertaining to when the man, he came up out of the garden based upon the principles of death, that when you look at the ground that there, you understand what I'm saying, are no flowers, okay? To take you right back here to show you principles based upon the death of the man. So therefore, what we're going to do is show you the descending and the ascending place simultaneously, okay? So now, when we come here, I apologize. All right. So now, as I said, when we come here, we see the principles how there is no grass because he's coming from this state of existence, life unto death. Okay, so here is the actual transgression. Okay, so therefore, like I said, here's when they was naked and not ashamed. Yahweh Elohim clothed them, and they come here. You understand what I'm saying? And there are no flowers. That's why when you come here and look, there is no flowers because we understand that from the sweat of his brow, he had to till the ground. Now, when Yahshua is fulfilling these particular principles, based upon how it says from the sweat of his face that he shall till the ground where he shall go back, that this is the principles of him getting ready to go back into the ground, you understand what I'm saying, from which he came. So when you look here, you don't see no flowers here, just like you don't see none because this is the instant of his first death, okay? So now that the Messiah, okay, has went through his death and his burial, because we see that this is where the man died, because this is the tomb showing you where the man died, and that black circle is showing you where the man went in, that this is Yahshua coming up out of where the man had died at, because that's the reason why that it turned black. Okay, to show you based upon that black dot right here, which is pertaining to the death that had manifested when you see Romans 5:12, how it says death bringing from Adam unto Moses, but now after the similitude of Adam's transgression, because here the Messiah is fulfilling that. So this is the reason why that when Yahshua is resurrecting from the grave, okay, and he fulfilled all those things, he fulfilled death, hell, and the grave, and fulfilled these particular principles. This is the reason why that now you see flowers manifesting right here, because he has resurrected to take everything back into the state and condition that the man was in before the transgression. That's the reason why that he told the woman, touch me not, because I have not yet ascended unto my Father, because the touching that had manifested here, and you see all the flowers that manifest here, all the flowers that manifest here, you have to understand that Joseph's new tomb was manifesting within the garden. And this places the man right back in the garden from where the man was taken, you understand what I'm saying, and placed within the garden here. So you have a man and a woman within the garden here because you had a man in the garden that's manifested right here. Now you have the sun, coming down here? Here you have the sun rising, because why? This is Sunday morning part of the resurrection of Yahshua Messiah. Here are the principles pertaining to the principles of death that Yahshua had to come in to fulfill because of how the creation came down. Here is revealing principles bringing the creation up. So this is the reason why that this is our descending, this is our ascending. And we shared those particular principles with you on numerable occasions. That's why when you come here on our pattern plan of salvation chart, we showed you the principles here on this particular chart, that we have the place right over one another, all right? Showing you the principles of how the man came down and then how Yahshua had took everything up. These two particular plates are the same place that I just revealed to you on the 40 plate chart. This is the Yahshua that's have the blackness going all the way around them. Here is pertaining to the principles of this particular dot here that's manifesting the principles of when the man transgressed and how death had entered into the world. Okay, Yahshua took it back. So that's showing you these particular principles here. And then when we come here, it is showing you the same entire principles. I do apologize. Let me turn this here to give some light so that you can see these particular principles manifest here on this particular chart. And let me move this out the way so that you can understand and grasp the principles here. Give me 1 second here, because see, we try to prove all things. We hold fast to that which is good. All right. So now when we come here, we share with you the same principles. Okay. This is our this is principles as our descending, because this is the degeneration, and then this is the regeneration, showing you the same two plates, okay, showing you the beginning and the end, okay? So this is the reason why that when you look at the ages and dispensations chart, you can look at the same principles. And pertaining to that, when you're looking at the degenerations, that this is the reason why it says it's providing the existence and destruction of Satan and his demons throughout the dispensations and ages. So this is showing you, based upon the principles that are happening, you understand with this particular blaze that happened within New York, it is picking up all these fundamental principles and revealing to you all these things that happen from the beginning to the end. Now, based upon that we say that this is an obituary, all right? Because you know how that when you look at an obituary, it got the date of when an individual was born, and then it has a line in between, and then it shows a picture of the individual's departure. You understand? So what we have just showed you was the beginning and end. We showed you when the individual was born, and then we showed you the time of his death. So now everything that I'm picking up now is showing you that that line that you see is everything that happened in between. You understand what I'm saying? What an individual did pertaining to his life. So these are the fundamental principles of what it is talking about, because like I said, it is talking about the resurrection of Yahshua the Messiah. So therefore, based upon the resurrection of the Messiah, it is showing you the totality of how that this is a destruction, you understand what I'm saying, of Satan's kingdom, and picking up all these particular fundamental principles, okay? Now, as well, that it says that 63 people has suffered injuries, including 32 taken to the hospital. It says 13 are in critical condition, all right? Now, we have shared with you on many, many occasions based upon the principles of how it says 13 are within critical condition. Now, when we look at the principles of number 13, we have shared with you on numeral times, okay? And we're going to do this again to show you the principles of 13, all right? And when we look at the principles of 13, and I want to do this so that you can understand it, that we come here to the head cavity of this particular chaotic creature. Now, the reason why that we have first in each one of these particular two heads is because this is the representation of the two children that's within the womb of Eve, pertaining to the principles of Cain and Abel. All right, they are twins. You understand what I'm saying? This is the first son of righteousness and the first son of unrighteousness. And when we come here and look at that one, you understand what I'm saying? That what we do is that we stay in darkness, and it brings us all the way down to the tree, okay, that had manifested of the tree of the knowledge and of good and of evil, pertaining to the principles of what we shared with you based upon the Sunday morning's resurrection of the Messiah. Okay, so what we do is that it brings us right back down here, you understand, to show you these particular principles based upon what happened on Sunday morning's resurrection, to where we understand that when the Messiah had resurrected, that there was a big earthquake. That's why we got resurrection right here, and we got earthquake manifesting right here, because it was a big earthquake when the Messiah had resurrected, all right? And at the same time, being a destruction of the kingdom of Satan. And so therefore, when we come to the principle of three, this is pertaining to the three frogs. You understand what I'm saying, of the dragon, which is Satan's minister. You understand what I'm saying, which is here, which is on fire. You understand what I'm saying, which burn. So pertaining to the principles of the 13 who are in critical condition, this is picking up the principles of them. You understand what I'm saying? Now understand, I'm not saying that the 13 individuals in the hospital are satanic. But just because that there are 13 individuals who are in critical condition, that the 13 who are in critical condition is the principle of the 13 of the satanic number of the beast, picking up the one that happened within the beginning of time. You understand what I'm saying? That's pertaining to the principles of what happened within Cain and Abel. All right, because what we're doing is showing you principles that had manifested from the beginning and ending of Satan's kingdom. So we're showing you the beginning and ending of the destruction of the kingdom of Satan. So therefore, when we come here showing you the three frogs, you understand what I'm saying, of the beast, you understand what I'm saying, pertaining to Satan's ministers. And we're showing you how that this is showing you how that satanic ministers right here, which is the clergy, how they formerly, ignorantly called Yahshua Messiah a lie. You understand what I'm saying? Saying how that Yahshua came in to institute instead of fulfilling, and that's what they have been preaching. Okay, so therefore, this is showing you how they lie. So now, when we look at here pertaining to the 13, that it says that 13 individuals. Now, listen to this. It says that that 13 individuals were in critical condition of respiratory problems. You understand what I'm saying? So now the reason why that I say that is because it takes us right back here to show you how that with this particular chaotic creature, you understand how that when we come here to this chest cavity, which was represent the 7 and the 3, because this is pertaining to the principles of the laws of Yahweh, which this physical chaotic creature, which is Satan, had broke, which were the laws, you understand what I'm saying, of Yahweh Elohim. Okay, based upon the principles of how we say that when you have the Holy Spirit, that they are placed within the heart and mind of man, which you see right here. This is principles of how that the laws of Yahweh is within a man's heart. This is showing you how the principles of the law is within the man's mind. Now, within a man's head cavity, which is principle as this right here, which is so beautiful. You know, this is the reason why that we want these particular principles like this. Now, here we're showing you principles of this being the second day of creation, okay, as well as principles as the second dispensation and the second day of creation. And when we look at the principles that happen within the second day of creation, that he divided the waters above from those beneath and allowed a firmament to manifest within the middle. And then when we look at the principles of the second dispensation, this is how Yahweh Elohim had destroyed the whole world by water, and then principle by the principle of what happened with Noah's Ark, because he divided the waters above from those beneath. Now we understand with the principles of Noah's Ark that the foundations of the waters that they broke from the ones above and those beneath, because the fountains of the waters below broke up to meet the ones that within the heaven to manifest the principles that happened on the second day. So this is why we come here to show you, when we look at this, that this is the manifestation of the waters above and those beneath that's manifesting here, to show you how that the spirit of Yahweh Elohim manifests within a man's head cavity, okay, because we understand that within the head cavity where the man's brain is, that you got water manifesting up there, that to where we understand that that's principle as the amniotic fluids of the brain that manifests right up here. So that's the reason why that you got this principle right here, to show you how that you have principles of the spirit of Yahweh within your head, within your heart, and within your mind. That's to pick up those particular principles and to show you simultaneously these particular principles of how they manifest right here, to show you how in the most holy place pertaining to the waters called the heaven, which is the firmament that manifests above, that how you got water within your head cavity, and that's showing you principles of the brain, and showing you the Ark of the Covenant, which is in the most holy place as the principles within the head cavity pertaining to the principles of the man correlated to the tabernacle pattern, or man, let me read it. Man made in the image of Elohim by the pattern, or the tabernacle pattern. So this is why that we correlate these 1, 2, 3 as such, so that you can look at all these particular principles. So here, when you see how we have the spirit of Yahshua within our heart and our mind, okay, being obedient or having his spirit within us, that this is the principle or the negative principle to show you this is the individual that doesn't have the spirit of Yahshua the Messiah or God within his heart, within his mind. And that's the reason why you have the law manifesting right there. And then you see the darkness that's manifesting right there to show you how that they had respiratory problems. Now, the reason why the 13 had respiratory problems was the principle as that the principles of how that satanic spirit has lawlessness manifested within his heart. And that's what you see by this individual manifesting right here, okay, by the darkness being within his chest cavity and within his heart based upon his lungs, okay? So when we look at that and we take you here to the principle of the tabernacle, okay, man made in the image and likeness of Yahweh Elohim by the tabernacle, okay? That when we come here, that we must understand everything that Yahshua has said. He shared with you how he said that I am the door, okay? We shared that with you with the principles of Yahshua being upon the cross. He says, I'm the light of the world, I'm the bread of life, and I'm the intercessor, okay? And when we look at the principles of how he is our intercessor, all right, that means that everything that we have done down here physically that is wrong, because he is our acceptable sacrifice that he prays to the Father for us to make intercession, okay, for us to the Father. And it says that the only one that's in between us and the Father is Yahshua the Messiah. So therefore that brings us, when we correlate that, is principles to the lungs. You understand what I'm saying? Because he is our intercessor. All right. And so therefore it's talking about how that the 13 individuals had respiratory problems. You understand what I'm saying? Because Yahshua's principle as the intercessor, which is the life of the world, that what happens is that when we're looking at this particular principle, that this is showing you how Yahshua is not there, okay? Because like I said, it's manifesting those dark principles, and how the lawlessness of Yahweh Elohim is not manifesting within this individual based upon the principles of this darkness that is manifesting within his chest cavity. When we come back here to show you these particular things, okay? So we just wanted to show you these particular things too. Now, as well, okay, we want to just show you that at the same time, it's picking up the same things as manifesting with this particular pandemic pertaining to the coronavirus, how that the coronavirus is attacking the principle of the lungs. You understand what I'm saying? Which is an aerial disease, which is affecting the lungs, which is manifesting individual death. Okay, so therefore we're seeing how even with the pandemic, okay, and the things that are taking place within the world, you understand what I'm saying, how all these things are connected together to show you, okay, the simple things that I said, that this is the 7 veils of Yahweh's wrath being manifested upon the earth plane. And this is showing you based upon how that the coronavirus attacks the holy place, which is principle as your lungs, you understand what I'm saying, which is showing you the principles of intercession, how that Satan is trying to take the intercession, you understand what I'm saying, away from the world, you understand what I'm saying, to be the accuser of the brethren. So this is the reason why that we have this particular virus, you understand what I'm saying, attacking, you understand what I'm saying, the holy place of man. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is where the Messiah abides. You understand? Now, if you understand how the whole that everybody living is made in the image and likeness of the Creator, we're talking about man, woman, child, okay? And so therefore, since we are all made in the image and likeness of Yahweh Elohim, and I just shared with you that this is an attack on mankind and the intercession based upon how Yahshua had died for the sins of the world. You understand what I'm saying? To eradicate the kingdom of this one, okay, who had persecuted us, which was the vanity that we were subjected to unwillingly. So since Yahshua has taken it away, and I said that these are the individuals who's trying to call him a lie, so that individuals cannot see him to understand that he is the Savior. You understand what I'm saying? That this is that plague that is manifesting right here, that is creating death, okay, into the whole entire world. And this is the reflect of it, okay? Now I'm just sharing that with you. Now, we understand that from the beginning of time, okay, when it says how Michael fought with his angels and Lucifer fought with his angels and none prevailed. You understand what I'm saying? To show you how that it was a religious world from the beginning, okay? Now, what we have to understand that religiously, that this particular place which happened, you understand what I'm saying, is a Muslim community. You understand what I'm saying? And so therefore, by this being a Muslim community, that we must understand this, that even if you are a Muslim or even if you are a Jew, that the laws of Moses still apply to you, okay? Based upon within the Muslim religion, that we understand that their dietary diet is the same as the Hebrews. Just like how the Hebrews do not eat swine, you understand what I'm saying? Neither do the Muslims eat swine neither, okay? Because that was given, you understand what I'm saying, to Moses based upon the laws that was given unto the children of Israel and was adapted by Prophet Muhammad. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, when we look at these particular principles and how these things were imposed, you understand what I'm saying, based upon the laws, the statutes, and judgments that was given unto the Hebrew nation, and us being the Gentile nation, you understand what I'm saying, in obedience unto that, and to the principles of monotheism that was given unto Father Abraham. You understand what I'm saying? To worship only one creator, okay? And so therefore, based upon the principles of monotheism, that we see how, based upon with Islam, that it is a monotheistic religion, okay? So therefore, when we look at these particular things, that's the reason why that these particular two tables of stone that is manifested as the World Trade Center are the buildings pertaining to the building that caught on fire. You understand what I'm saying? And we look at the principle of fire and the buildings manifesting here is going back into those particular laws. You understand what I'm saying? That is governing not only the Hebrews, but the Gentile nations as well. And that's the reason why that we have the seed here of the Jews and the seed here of the Gentiles. You understand? And going back to reveal to you that in the beginning that it was a religious war, and all the wars, I can't even talk, the wars of the world, you understand, were religious. You understand? So this is how that we look at those particular things. You understand? And so therefore, this is how that Yahweh Elohim is talking back into the whole entire world so that we can be able to understand these fundamental principles based upon the things that are taking place. You understand what I'm saying? And the things that we are looking at and how that we are supposed to extract these things that are happening within the world and take them back to the fundamental principles that has happened within the scriptures that he has written, okay, to go according to the principles of the law and the prophets that Yahshua came in to fulfill. And so therefore, these particular things that take place are reminders for us to be able to understand the things that are taking place within the world that is a reflect of Yahshua the Messiah. Now, when it says the principle of 32, okay, it says 32 was taken into the hospital. You understand what I'm saying? To be saved, okay? Now, I know you say, well, you never got into the principle of 32. Now I'm going to get into the principle of 32. It says that 32 people was taken to the hospital. Now, when it talks about the 32, I was just trying to see how to run this ramification so that you can be able to see it. I'll do my best. And when it's talking about the principles of 32, that we understand that that the Jews had received Pentecost, and we understand the principle of 33 AD. Okay. Now, bring it all the way around. Bring it full circle. Now here, when we come here to the vision, that here is the transfiguration that happened on AD 32, okay? So when it's talking about a transfiguration, to where Yahshua was in a physical body and he had manifested principles that's within the spirit, that this is where we come here to pick up the individual, 32 individuals that was taken to the hospital, because it brings us right back here to show you principles of Peter, James, and John, because these are the witnesses of how they are witnessing unto Yahshua the Messiah. Now, just how I went over all those particular principles within this particular ecology, you understand what I'm saying? To bring you full circle back unto the witness that manifesting here based upon the transfiguration. that these individuals that were physically okay, even though that they got sick, was those of the ones to be saved. Now, when we take the particular numbers of 3 and 2, okay, that manifests the principles of Pentecost, of how those that have received Pentecost based upon receiving Yahshua's spirit within their heart and their mind were saved. This is the reason why the 32 individuals had went to the hospital. They were in critical condition, but they were saved, opposed to those of the 13, you understand what I'm saying, that was suffering from the respiratory problems. And we showed you that those were principles of individuals that had happened down here that we picked up that was pertaining to the principles of the characteristics of that satanic spirit. So now when we look at the principles of 32, you understand what I'm saying, that brings us right here based upon the transfiguration of Yahshua the Messiah. Now, when we come here to the divine vision and revelation that's being revealed, that brings us right here, okay? And that shows you how that is a transfiguration right here. We come to AD 32, that's manifesting right here. Now, these are the same principles to show you how this is put as Moses, and this is John or Elijah, okay, up on the mountain of transfiguration, watching how Yahshua face has shined like the sun. You understand what I'm saying? The raiment became white. You understand what I'm saying? And a voice from heaven spoke that this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. So when we look at these particular principles based upon the 32 that is allowing us to come here to show you now that we are within the spiritual kingdom of Yahshua the Messiah. Okay. And so therefore this is showing you the resurrection of now how that we are not within the physical, but how we are in the spirit. You understand? And to show you that we are going through a transition from everything which was physical and going back into the spirit, because Yahshua's kingdom is a spiritual kingdom because he woke up spiritually, so not as a physical man. So this is showing you here based upon these particular principles and showing you the sunrise, okay, to take you all the way back to the principles of how, based upon Sunday morning's early point of his resurrection, according to the sun, that he resurrected early. And these are the principles, you know what I'm saying, that are manifesting after the fact, based upon the principles of his death. So as well, we shared with you that 3 and 2 added together is the principle of 5 pertaining to the principles of Pentecost. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the reason why we come here to show you how that the spirit of Yahshua Messiah is manifesting in one's mind. Okay, right here. Okay, so this is the spirit manifesting in a man's mind. This is showing you how all of us are within the body of the Messiah, manifesting within a physical body. And if you are not in the kingdom of Yahshua Messiah, that, you know what I'm saying, that all these physical things are going to happen and manifest to you. And those who are within the spirit, this is showing you where we are, because this is showing you the separation based upon the separation that had happened down here within the land of Goshen. Okay, this is the land of Goshen right here. All right, and the land of Goshen, opposed to those who were within Egypt, there was a separation because those who were in Goshen had light, and the others who were in Egypt, you understand what I'm saying, were in darkness. Okay, so that is showing you the principles right here of the principles of Goshen. You understand what I'm saying? And just like my little boy say, he says, go shine. You understand what I'm saying? Go shin, go shine, go shin, go shine. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what he says, you know, and we laugh about that because that's just a little joke, okay? Between me and him, based on the way my name is spelled, okay? So we look at those particular things, you know what I'm saying, and we laugh at, but this is showing you the separation, how those in Goshen was in the light and those who were in Egypt was still in darkness. We show you these same particular principles here. When we come here to the other chart that's being revealed, all right? We show you how that the whole entire, let me show you Goshen first, okay? This is Goshen. This is showing you how it was light in Goshen, okay? This is why we have right here where it says that the events of the commission of Moses opens the fourth dispensation, and the events of the Exodus opens the fourth millennium. And this is pertaining to when the children of Israel were coming up out of the land of Egypt. This is Goshen, and this is the reason why that you got these footprints going right here, all behind, you understand what I'm saying, behind the pyramid and all that, because this is them. You understand that when I take it back, okay, you'll be able to see. Hold on, let me show you the footprints, all right? These are the footprints of them coming all the way out of Egypt, okay, at night, coming to the divided waters of the Red Sea. Oops, let me move the chart so you can see how the children of Israel was making it up out of the land of Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? To the divided waters, to go to and through the divided waters of the Red Sea, which is down here, okay? That's them getting up out of there. And so when we come back, all the way back, that we're showing you based upon light being in Goshen okay, with the children of Israel down here in Stygian darkness of Egypt, because this is the darkness up here. But the darkness, okay, was all the way down here. We're just giving you a lighted up version based upon the Stygian darkness that had manifested, and to show you how the children of Israel were in light, to show you the separation between the Yahweh's chosen people and the Egyptians. Okay, so we're showing you that here on a physical Romans 1:19 and 20, and then showing you spiritually and psychologically, so based upon the separation that is manifesting right now, based upon the principles that had happened within this particular ecology. Okay, so it's a lot of things, you understand what I'm saying, that happened within this particular ecology for us to be able to run all these ramifications. And I know you're saying, well, man, out of that particular fire that happened in New York, you got all of that. But let me share something with you. When you look at all the numerology and all the principles based upon what happened with the children of Israel, that just within that particular story right there, or that particular newspaper article, which was very, very sad. You understand what I'm saying? That is telling you the story of what happened with Yahshua the Messiah. Now, let me share this with you. You say, well, everything that happened with the children of Israel, it appeared to be glorious because they were led up out of the land of Egypt. Well, what we're trying to sit up and show you, that along with that, that you have to understand and see both sides of the story. You understand? Because based upon what happened with the children of Israel, you understand what I'm saying, when their children were thrown into the Nile River, you understand what I'm saying, that was a sad thing for the children of Israel. So they lost their children down here in the land of Egypt as well, opposed to where we're seeing how when Yahweh Elohim had fled the Egyptians based upon the things that they did, and within the Stygian night, you understand what I'm saying, how the firstborn was taken, that we can see these particular principles that are manifesting right here, and to see how Yahshua had died within the two evenings based upon the principles of what happened when they had to take out a lamb, and then showing you how Yahshua still died, okay, down here, okay, showing you the principles of how he fulfilled the things that happened down here within the land of Egypt. Okay, so as I said, the manifestation changed, but the principle will remain the same. And we are Yahweh Elohim's creation. So therefore, he tells his story through us based upon the things that happen to us within life, which we look at to where we understand to be as news. Okay, so that's why we go through these particular things. We see the things that happen, and it says that we rightly divide the word of truth. Okay, because this is his story. Okay, and so therefore, this is just to reveal to you how we are within his kingdom, the things that are manifesting and taking place within his kingdom by the things that take place within the creation. So I do believe that I have extracted all of the particular principles within this particular ecology based upon the 32 and the people. Now, one thing that I did neglect to pick up was this, that it says that the starting of this particular fire has started by a male functioning electrical device or electrical heater. Okay, so they said that it was a space heater that started the particular fire as the upcoming news articles come about, but it says that firefighters were sent to tackle the blaze, which officials believe was sparked by a male functioning electrical heater. You understand what I'm saying? Now, when we come here and show you principles of the electron, okay, which is the outer electrical charge of an atom, okay, or the negative electrical charge of an atom, and we come here to where it says that it was a male functioning electronic or a male functioning electric heater. We come here, you understand what I'm saying, because we understand that he's a little heater. You understand what I'm saying, because he's heated for the simple fact that he has but a short time, and that he is taking his wrath as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour, because his time is very, very short. So when we look at principles of electrical fires, electrical shortages, things of that particular nature, you know what I'm saying, or anything negative of electrical principles, that we always come here and pick up the principle of the negative electrical charge, because this is showing you based upon his sins. You understand what I'm saying? You see how his wing is being burnt right here, that he is the reason why the fire is perpetuating all the way around. You understand what I'm saying? This particular atom form that's within the square as a block, okay, to show you the principles of how this block apartment, you understand what I'm saying, ignited. And so therefore, when we come here and we see that he is the reason why that the fire and block ignited was because of this particular malfunctioning electrical heater that we come here to show you that this is the reason why that this particular fire, you understand what I'm saying, has started. It is all his fault. You understand what I'm saying? And it was principled as, you understand, a electrical heater that had happened on the second floor. Okay, it says the second or third floor of this particular apartment. All right. So what you have to understand is this, that if the most holy place and holy place is now one compartment, because Yahshua had rent the veil within the temple, which was the veil of his flesh, to allow the most holy place and the holy place to become one compartment. This is how did you get the understanding that pertaining to the principles of the second floor. You understand what I'm saying? That if these two are become one compartment, that this is one and then this is two, okay, coming to the outer. So therefore, since this is the outer, that this is picking up the principle of the second floor where the fire ignited. You understand what I'm saying? Because some people started like this, 1, 2, and 3, but it is really originated that things happen from the most holy places, the most holy place. You understand what I'm saying? As 1, the holy place as 2, and the court roundabout as the third compartment. You understand what I'm saying? That is how it originated, because everything started from the heavens and came down, because Yahweh said that I am come down. It shows you principles of the man being in the most holy place and coming up out of the most holy place of the garden, coming down to the court roundabout. So this is why we're showing you these particular principles so that you can be able to understand them. So by the most holy place and holy place being one compartment, that this is the second compartment. And so therefore, this is showing you why that on the second story, that this is the reason why that this particular fire had broke out and has taken place. And then it said that it tried to ignite and go to the third floor, because we understand it pertaining to the principles of Yahshua Messiah, that Yahweh our Elohim is what? A consuming fire. Okay, so this is the reason why that the principle said on the second and the third floor, you understand what I'm saying, that the fire originated from the second floor and burned, the third floor. So this is showing you how the two floors where the fire had took place. Okay, so that's to sum up all of those particular principles based upon what it was talking about. And then as well that we understand that New York is called the Big Apple. Okay, we just wanted to sit up and show you this. Okay, this was another thing, fundamentally things that I thought was beautiful too. Now it says that New York is called the Big Apple, and that's pertaining to fruit. You understand what I mean? So therefore, when we say that New York is the Big Apple, and this is where this fire had took place, that's principled as to fruit. You understand what I'm saying? Pertaining to what the man and the woman had ate. You understand what I'm saying? Within the garden for their transgression, and allowed them to be able to come up out of the garden. Because physically and worldly speaking, you understand what I'm saying? It says that the man has an Adam's apple because he ate the apple, you understand what I'm saying, within the beginning, which was the sin or the tree or the fruit which Yahweh Elohim told the man not to partake of, okay? That's just a joke, okay? But at the same time, that is the principle, because we have to understand that everything that happened within the garden, okay? That happened on the third day of creation. Now, another note that I wanted to grasp based upon the principle. Now, when I told you about the principle of the fruit, okay, that New York being the Big Apple, okay, and then it takes us back to the third day of creation. This is the reason why that the address, okay, based upon that happened within the Bronx was 333, because it had to take you back to the third day of creation, picking up the principles of the Big Apple to show you that the principles of where the biosphere had first manifested. Okay, so that's why the principles of it had to manifest, or the address was 333, because it took us back to the third day of creation, because we're showing you, just like how we showed you up here, pertaining to the principles of the amniotic fluids, or how the second day of creation is manifested up here, and showing you how Yahshua will have the spirit within his heart and his mind that we come down here. Okay, to show you how we got the third day of creation manifesting right here. Here is the principle of how that the third day of creation is showing you the principles of division between the blossom and fruition. And so therefore, when we're showing you this here, that we're showing you here pertaining to the foundation of the tables of stone, to show you how the creation,
the tables of stone according to the creation, and then how it's not being in shape and form, how it is in shape and form, and then coming right here, picking up the principles of how this being the big apple, here where's the apples and all the fruit originated from the third day of creation, and showing you these particular principles and being related based upon what had originated and happened within this particular ecology. So therefore, pertaining to the principles of 333, you understand what I'm saying, pertaining to the address of the building that burnt up, that we had to come to the third day of creation because New York is called the Big Apple, pertaining to the principles of the fruit of what the man and the woman had ate to bring the creation down and to bring them here within the court roundabout to pick up all those particular things that we picked up here within the court roundabout and the principles within this ecology to fulfill everything that it is talking about, leading us into the Messiah and how he fulfilled those particular things, okay? So I hope that I was very, very clear. I hope I didn't miss anything pertaining to those particular ecologies. And so based upon that, what we will be doing is move along. One more thing, I almost forgot. Now, why don't you say it? Come on, Dr. Lyons. Okay, now, one thing that I almost forgot, which was very, very important, okay? That when I was talking about all those things based upon the first and second Adam, was that the mayor of New York name is Mr. Adams, okay? Now you say, okay, well, that's his last name. No, Adams is his first name, Eric is his second name, okay? And so therefore that takes us all the way back here to show you how that this is the first Adam, and all those principles based upon the second Adam was looking at the principle as 11, to where this incident happened at 11 o'clock is showing you how that the second Adam, which is Yahshua Messiah, pertaining to these principles as 11 o'clock fulfilled everything of the principles of the first Adam, okay? Now, you say, how are you saying that the mayor of New York's first name is his last name, and his name is Eric Adams? Now, when an individual is born, okay, based upon, this is the parents, okay, the mother and father of this particular child, that when that child comes into the world, they didn't call him, this is the Eric baby. They said, no, this is the Adams baby, because this is Mr. and Mrs. Adams. This is Mrs. Adams who just had Mr. Adams, or, you know, the baby. So they called the child the Adams baby. They put a tag on the baby and put Adams baby. And then what happens is they say, well, what are you going to name your baby? Then they said, we're going to name him Eric. And then that became his first name, to where his name was Mr. Eric Adams, okay? So it takes you all the way back to the garden based upon the mayor of New York, picking up how Adam was in a big apple. You understand what I'm saying? Likening it to the garden, you understand what I'm saying? To show you those particular principles. You understand what I'm saying? And then, like I said, when I look at these things like that, based upon this particular teaching, you understand what I'm saying? That I know beyond a reasonable doubt that Yahweh Elohim had manifested within the body of our founder, Dr. Henry Clifford King. I know that that was the Holy Spirit manifesting within our founder for him to be able to bring to fruition these particular principles, for us to be able to go over these particular things based upon the vision and revelation that he left us, and to show us how to go into the scriptures to be able to see these particular things and to learn these particular things based upon he showed us with the witnesses of what we allowed to be able to understand through principles of our founder, and how he had shared these physical principles through our Vice President and International Dean, former Dean, Dr. Robert Harris, based upon the physiology principles that we learned, to where we can look at these particular things, go back and say, wow, you understand what I'm saying? These fundamental principles are airtight. You understand what I'm saying? And trust me, they really, really and truly are. And these things, come on now, they are not by coincidence. They are not by happenstance. You understand what I'm saying? That's why names, places, events, okay, time frames, you understand what I'm saying? Blood, water, spirit, 40, you understand what I'm saying? And the numerical system, all of these things play an important part. Why? Because it takes us back to what our founder has always said to us, okay, that when you come here, all right, and you understand how all of these particular ologies, okay, that when you apply them, okay, when you come back here, you take all these particular ologies, all right? And you apply them to the divine vision, or you apply them to the scripture. You understand what I'm saying? As well as this threefold intangible tabernacle pattern. What happens is that it allows everything that we understand, okay, to come to life according to the scriptures. You cannot get around none of these ologies, okay? Can't get outside of these ologies in everyday life. There is nothing that you can do pertaining to your everyday life that will get you out of any one of these ologies by you manifesting or fulfilling any one of these ologies, okay? That when you understand the true reality of it, that it is taking you back, okay, right back unto the things pertaining to the scriptures, okay? So this is the reason why that we go back to these particular ologies, because these 33 ologies define and break down the characteristics of the operation of the whole entire world that is leading us back into Yahshua the Messiah, okay? So that's why I say these things, okay? And I just find all these things, like I said, they are just beautiful, okay? They are just wonderful, because what happens is that it takes it away from a man, okay? And like Yahshua the Messiah said, that I will not give my glory to another, okay? Nor will there be any successor that I will leave my creation to, okay? No one but myself. And this is also to reveal to you how that his spirit has filled the whole entire world. That's why the founder said that I am Yahweh and so are you. And the only way that we can be able to understand these things and appreciate these things is to understand and identify the spirit of Yahshua the Messiah within us. That's how we're able to see these things, appreciate these things, you understand what I'm saying, and to know where we are in time. Okay, so now we will be getting into our second ecology. Now here, our second ecology takes us to Brazil. It says here that 10 dies after Brazilian cliff collapse onto leisure boats. Rescue teams are searching for survivors. Another 32 people were injured in the accident in the southeastern of the country. Video circulating online shows the movement, the rocks detached from the cliff, face as onlookers try to yell, warning the boats beneath. At least one of the boats appeared to have sunk, while others managed to escape from the huge wave the falling rocks created. The collapse at 11 o'clock local time, 1400 DTM time, followed days of rain in minus Gorias state, which had made the cliff more susceptible to collapse. Local fire officials told Reuters that peace will fall out there. That peace will fall out there, warned others before the cliff collapsed onto the boats. These vessels were hit by falling rocks. Lieutenant Pedro Ahara told Reuters out of the 32 injured, 9 people were in the hospital list. Lisandria Barbosa told news outlet EPTV that she is seeking news of her uncle who were spending the weekend at the site and decided to take a boat tour of the cliff. I called local hospitals. So far, I haven't had any information about them. We are distressed, very concerned, she said. We get nervous because we have no information, and it's family night. Family is everything to us. Authorities are now trying to identify those killed with their bodies badly damaged in the collapse. Oh boy. Now here, when we go to this particular ecology, I seen the collapse, and you know, it's really hard to, when you look at how this happened and the collapsing of this, and how it was caught on video. You're looking at this beautiful scene of this beautiful water and this beautiful cliff, and boats are just calmly and beautifully just on the water. Okay. And then this cliff just collapsed and just falls on it. And then a big wave and everything. And you see these people that were on the boat just fall up under this collapsed cliff. And you're just like, no, that just didn't happen. People hear them yelling and screaming and all of a sudden it's just over with instantaneously. I mean, that was just, it just takes your breath away. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, we don't condone death. We send our condolences out to those who lost family members in the incident in New York, as well as this incident that manifested within Brazil. Okay. Now here, when we look at this particular principle, all right, and it's talking about how that this particular cliff that had collapsed. Okay. Now we have shared with you principles that when we talk about things that collapse, okay, that we come here, okay, based upon, like we shared with you, principles with the World Trade Center. We share with you based upon the Chap towers, you understand that had collapsed, and other things that have collapsed. The mountains, rocks that had happened over in India, the collapse there, you understand what I'm saying, based upon, it said that a stone that up the top that had moved and allowed all the rocks to collapse and fall upon the highway and kill individuals. In India, those who lost their lives in the Chap towers that collapsed, things of the particular nature, that we come here to show you principles of a collapse because of all the principles that had happened with the World Trade Center. Now, I shared with you that this had happened before. I had the divine vision and revelation. The Yahweh had told me to put this particular principle here to show you principles of those particular principles collapse, because based upon the things that happened with the World Trade Center, there were fundamental principles that happened here that will continue to perpetuate throughout the world based upon what Yahweh is revealing to the world by these particular principles, okay? Now, I have shared with you based upon the principles of 9. When you come here, you look at it, this is a 9, and then you look at these particular towers as the principles of 11. Okay. Now, in the first ecology, it said that when these buildings had caught on fire, that it was 11 o'clock. This is the one here. This is the one here being principled as 11, based upon when the block fire, the block blaze in New York took place at 11 o'clock. So therefore, we see how this is 11 here. Okay, showing you that based upon these two buildings, it's principled as a 1-1. Okay, as a principle as 11. Okay, as we share with you here, to show you all the way down here, when we look at it and we run the principle all the way across, that the true 11 was pertaining to the second Adam. Okay, so therefore we come here showing you that there, and then as these pictures, the principle of the 2 tables of stone, the collapse of Moses throwing them down from the top of the mountain, that here when Moses threw them down, that's likened unto the cliff. You understand what I'm saying? Because Moses was here at the edge of the cliff when he threw down these 2 particular tables of stone. Okay, manifesting right here. So we have that particular principle manifesting right here. Okay, when it's talking about the principle of how the cliff collapsed. All right, and then it happened. You understand what I'm saying? At 11 o'clock on Sunday, just like how this particular fire had manifested. Okay, now this happened in Brazil. At the same time that this fire was happening over here in New York at 11 o'clock. You understand what I'm saying? Central time and GTM time, okay? So therefore, when we look at this, like I said, it was the second watch, okay? And it was showing you principles which happened within the 3rd hour. As well as this happened within the 3rd hour, and I was showing you the principles of 333, that this, in the last ecology, that happened on the 3rd hour, the principles of the 3rd day of creation. You understand what I'm saying? And showing you all those particular things was how you got the 333 pertaining to the apartment number of the complex within New York. Now here, when we come here and we're looking at the principles of how it says 10 dies after the cliff collapse, that we shared with you how these tables that these two particular buildings are principles of the tables of stone that was thrown down by Moses. You understand the same principle as this particular cliff collapsing. We come here to show you principles of the inner organic earth, okay, to show you how that this is a manifestation of the altar. Okay, so therefore, when you look at the principles of the inner organic altar as the inner organic earth, and this is a conglomeration of the earth here, and you're looking at the collapse, this is showing you principles as the cliff, okay, and how it collapsed because we run the principle all the way across. So therefore, the cliff was exactly this particular color here, showing you these particular principles as this being the altar. You understand what I'm saying? To pick up the principles of the fire and everything pertaining to, like I said, so this being the 11 and showing you principles of the collapse here and showing you how this was the earth not being in any shape and form. You understand what I'm saying? Before the principles of the spirit had entered into it, you understand what I'm saying? So therefore, this is picking up the principles of the earth, okay, as the mountain. You understand what I'm saying? Or the conglomeration of what you understand to be principle here as Moses land on the cliff or like the plateau, this particular mountain throwing down the stones because of the transgression of the people making this particular molten calf. Okay, so there go the 10 commandment stones being thrown down. Just like how when you come here and you see how with this exposing that you got the 10 commandment law right here based upon this particular fire that's principled as this lightning bolt and in the words of Yahweh that's being manifested and spoken. You understand what I'm saying? So when you got the 10 commandment law manifesting right here, let me come up a little bit more so that you can see what I'm talking about. That when you're looking at the 10 commandment law manifesting right here based on the principles of the explosion, this is the manifestation of the 11. This is because it happened at 11 o'clock. These two buildings manifest the time frame because we're within the court roundabout where the angel said, measure it not. You understand what I'm saying? Because that time was given unto the Gentiles based upon what the angel had told John on the Isle of Patmos. Okay, so we come here and we look at that. The 10 that died is principle as we said, the airline in the form of a dove. We understand how all the people and everything died here. So therefore, it's picking up the principle of the number of 10, okay, of the 10 individuals who died within Brazil based upon the collapse of the cliff. So this is how you gather those particular principles here as we extract it from Moses being at the plateau of the mountain, throwing down the commandments here. I apologize. Like I said, I'll be thinking you're in the house with me and you can see everything that I'm talking about or pointed to. So I do apologize to come back to run these specific principles, okay? So you can see here, all right? And we show you the principles of 11, okay? Now it says that another 32 were injured, okay, in the accident in Southeast, okay? So now we share with you these particular principles. I want you to look at this too. Like I said, I'll be finding these things phenomenal. Now it happened in the Southeast. Here, we're showing you the principles of South. We showed you the principles of how this is 11. We showed you how this was 9 and this is 11, but we're just extracting the principles 11. It says that it happened in Southeast. We come here, here's South, we look at these principles, here's East. So it happened in between or within this particular area, right here, okay, even if we came down here diagonally. So therefore, we picked up those particular principles that's gathering all these things within Southeast to show you how the collapse had manifested. We gathered the 10 individuals who lost their life. We grasped this particular principles of the inner organic earth to show you how it's not in shape and form, to show you principles, how it is manifesting the earth as a principle, as the cliff, and principle as these buildings collapsing. Okay, and so therefore, when we showed you that, based upon we understand how the World Trade Center and these particular things had collapsed, okay, going back to New York is taking us to the things that are within the outer court. Now, I'm not trying to mix two ecologies within one, okay, but the base, what I'm doing is just showing you based upon the ramification and the principles of how they are perpetuating, okay. So now we share with you the principles, like we said, 32, all right? We share with you based upon the transfiguration that happened right here. This is picking the principles of what happened in South and picking the principles of East, because that brings us right here to what happened in 32 AD based upon the transfiguration. This brings us right here. So when it's talking about South, and then it's talking about East, you understand what I'm saying? And then it's talking about how 32 were injured, you understand what I'm saying? That's picking up the principles of how what happened on 32 AD based upon the transfiguration of Yahshua Messiah that manifests right here. Okay, so we wanted to show you that South
east. Here you go, your south, here you go, your east, okay? Just by those particular principles. It says that that a video circulating online shows the movement, the rocks detach from the cliff, face as onlookers try to yell warning to the boats beneath. Now, when we understand, when we come back here, boy, I tell you, these things are just phenomenal to me. And I do apologize. But at the same time, I rejoice within the spirit because it is a testimony of him and his purpose. Now, pertaining to this particular tree of knowledge of good and of evil, that we have shared with you in past lectures, how that this particular tree of knowledge of good and of evil is also manifesting the principles of the spiritual walls of Jericho, as well as the veil of blindness and death, okay? So now, based upon this particular tree falling, it's in like manner based upon the principles of what manifested with the collapse of the cliff, okay? Because this tree just fell up out of nowhere, okay? Just like how the principles of the cliff, you understand what I'm saying, fell, you understand what I'm saying? And then said that it was killing the 10 individuals. Now, when this tree fell, you understand what I'm saying? And it's principled as the spiritual walls of Jericho. Okay, just how the particular cliff, you understand what I'm saying, had failed, that when the children of Israel had went around the walls of Jericho, okay, and we share with you based upon these particular principles here, that they went around the walls of Jericho 7 times, okay? We're going to come here to try to show you these particular principles here really fast, that this is the principle here, that here is showing the children of Israel going to the divided waters of the river Jordan, okay, coming into the principles of Canaan's land. This is the tree based upon we understand that this tree was resurrected here, manifesting principles as the walls of Jericho. Here they're going into the sun. Here they're coming out of the sun to show you how this is a perpetual of them going around and around. You understand what I'm saying? Going in the sun here, coming out of the sun. These are the sons of Elohim. Here are the soldiers of Elohim. You understand that with the whole armor of Elohim coming up out of the sun. Sons of Elohim coming in, coming out. So they went around 7 times. Okay, here were the principles of 7. And then they yelled, you understand what I'm saying? Just like how it says here. You understand within this particular principle, how it says that they yell on the onlookers. This is showing you how that this particular chart is on looking how it's looking at you. Let me go back up here, okay, to show you. Let me come back a little bit. So where you can see Elohim here and Elohim here, okay? Facing on, because it's facing on at you. They're facing on at you. So here it says how that that the onlookers, because this is the onlookers based upon the cliff, you understand what I'm saying, that fell, yelled to warn others beneath. So when these walls fell, they had yelled, and then the walls fell like unto this tree. You understand what I'm saying? And it is talking about how they tried to warn the boats, you understand what I'm saying, to those who were beneath. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, based upon them yelling and it's falling, because this is likened to the spiritual walls of Jericho, they yelled because of the fall of the cliff, and they yelled and the walls fell, that these are the same principles based upon someone yelling, something falling, you understand what I'm saying, and individuals dying. These are picking up these particular principles here. Now, as we see them manifest here within the court roundabout, is picking up the principles that manifested here in the most holy place, like to the principles that manifested within heaven. So what this is showing you based upon these 2 particular ecologies of how that the war had manifested within heaven, how it manifested on earth, and the same principle that happened within the spirit is taking its physical manifestation on the earth plane. Like we have shared with you many of times and many occasions, okay, and we're going to continue to do this so that you can understand that we learn by repetition. You understand? Okay. Now, we have shared with you on many occasions that here, when we come here, that we show you these particular principles of how that everything that had manifested within the angelic realm, okay, that is here, takes its residence within the physical realm. And that is the reason why that we have this perforated dotted line manifesting right here to show you these particular things, okay? So that's the reason why that we go back and forth to show you these particular things, to show you how that they do take their residence within the physical realm, all right? Now, as we go back, and it says that at least one of the boats appear to have sunk. Okay, so now it goes back to says that one of the boats have sunk. Now, when it says at the onlook, it says yell, try to yell, and then in here it says that at least one of the boats have sunk. That takes us based upon of where we are in time. All right. Now, man, these things are just so beautiful. I'm gonna try to sum all these things up how Yahweh Elohim reveals to me. Okay, these things just be so beautiful. All right. Now look at this. Now, all these things were happening within the court roundabout, okay, which we will share with you. Even the incidents that happened within our first ecology, okay? So since that still leaves us here within the court roundabout based upon what had happened, based upon the collapse, that takes us right up here, because within the darkness, it takes us back up here to the road to Damascus. You understand what I'm saying? Now, that's picking up the principles pertaining to Saul, okay? And that's also picking up the things pertaining to Saul that happened after the death, burial, resurrection of Yahshua Messiah. You understand what I'm saying? That puts us within the fifth dispensation. You understand? So therefore, since that puts us within the fifth dispensation, within the fourth age after the Messiah had died, like until you see right here, and the branches right here, you understand what I'm saying, to where that is picking up Saul based upon after Yahshua had shined unto him on the road to Damascus right here. You understand what I'm saying? So here it says that when we look at this, that it says that at least one boat appears to have sunk while others managed to escape from the huge wave the falling rock created. Now, I want to say this too. Now, when it says that at least one boat have sunk, that we understand it pertaining to that particular principle, that when we pick up Saul, that Saul says that he has been shipwrecked. You understand what I'm saying? That the boat that he was on, that it was wrecked. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, it had to pick up one boat to be sunk, you understand what I'm saying, by the falling rocks or the cliff. You understand what I'm saying? For the simple fact that the Holy Spirit, when Saul, you understand what I'm saying, was manifesting, had went through a shipwreck, okay, pertaining to that particular principle that is manifesting here within the fourth roundabout, picking him up. You understand what I'm saying? Right here, to show you these particular principles here. Like I said, I find this beautiful. Then we have shared with you on many occasions that when we come here, all right, and we show you how that these particular dotted lines, okay, right here, all right, that we shared with you, all right, what we do is that we come here. We show you these dotted lines right here that's manifested, taking you all the way back up to Rome, is how Saul had appealed to Caesar here in Rome, all the way from Jerusalem. Okay, we come all the way back and show you that this is the trek. When we come to the dotted lines, I'm sorry, right there that you see, right here, going all the way back to Jerusalem, is showing you where Saul had came from. Okay. To where he had to take this trip on the Mediterranean Sea, okay? So that's the reason why that we come here and we show you these particular dotted lines, showing you the trip when Saul, you understand what I'm saying, was on the Mediterranean going all the way back, okay, unto Rome, all right? And so therefore, based upon it says that Saul said he was shipwrecked, you understand what I'm saying, we'll just show you those particular principles of what it was talking about, of how one of the ships were destroyed, to pick up and fulfill the principles of what happened with Saul, as well as we understand as well as we understand, let me pick this up so that I won't, you know what I'm saying, get confused. Of how it says that others managed to escape the huge wave and the falling rocks that was created. The collapse happened at 11 o'clock for local time, following days of rain, okay, in minus Carreras, all right, state, all right? So now when we look at those particular principles, how it says that based upon the collapse was the reason that it happened was because of a lot of rain. And so when we look at that takes us right back to the principles and everything that happened on the second dispensation, okay, picking up the principles of the second day, as well as the second river when we come here, because it's talking about based upon the rain that had manifested. And when we come here and we look at these particular principles, it says that was the reason why that the rocks had failed based upon this particular cliff. You understand what I'm saying? To destroy, you understand what I'm saying, this particular leisure boats, okay? So now when you look at this and it's talking about a leisure boat, right, okay?
that when it's taking us back to the second dispensation and the second day that we pick up the boat, okay, that was constructed by Noah, to where it was 8 souls upon that particular boat. You understand what I'm saying? That Yahweh Elohim had commanded the man to be able to make. So this is what you got to sit up and understand based upon these things, recapitulating and taking us back, okay, within the creation. Because now, as I said, that's taking us right back to the second dispensation, showing us what happened within the second age and picking up the things that happened with Noah, because his boat was upon the waters. You understand what I'm saying? And at the time before it had receded, you understand what I'm saying, that it just floated, okay? And the beautiful thing about it was that all the cliffs and all the mountaintops, based upon Noah being within the ark, looking up out of the window, you understand what I'm saying? That he was at the top, okay, of the highest mountains within the world, because that particular boat had resided upon Mount Ararat and is still there to this day on the side of a cliff. You understand what I'm saying? And therefore, this cliff had collapsed. You understand what I'm saying? Onto a boat, killing 10, where we understand that there was 8 within the boat of Noah, okay? And therefore, 8 is the number of a new beginning, but yet still 10 is the number of the law. And therefore, when we look at this, that the 8 had died here because the law of Yahweh pertaining to the 10 commandments was not given unto man when Yahweh Elohim had destroyed the first world. You understand what I'm saying? So this is how that we look at those particular principles there, to where now that we're looking at the 10 to see that they was up under the law. You understand what I'm saying here? And we're talking about things pertaining to a boast that happened. You understand what I'm saying? And run us all the way back to the principle that happened on the second day of creation, because it was talking about because of the following days of rain that happened prior to this particular accident, takes us back to the principles of Noah's Ark. It says here that which had made the cliff more susceptible to collapse. It says local fire officials told rooters that the piece will fall out there. So therefore they warned them. They said that this piece of rock is going to fall up out of there, but yet people were still there. It says they warned others, okay, before the cliff collapsed onto the boats. The vessels were hit by falling rocks, okay? So therefore these particular boats, you understand what I'm saying, that they had told them, they warned them. Why? Because when Noah was preparing the ark, what did he do? He warned the people. You understand what I'm saying? And he warned the people for 600 years in the making, you understand what I'm saying, of this particular ark, okay? So therefore what happens is that when we come to the divine vision and revelation of our founder, okay? See, boy, I tell you, these things are phenomenal, okay? And when we look at the beauty of how the scriptures, you understand what I'm saying, do nothing more but perpetuate to tell the story of the Creator, that there is nothing more beautiful than that. That brings us here, okay, to divine vision and revelation of our founder. Let us go right back here to look at these particular principles, extract these particular principles so that we can get a true understanding based upon the things that happens. You understand what I'm saying? To where they may be tragic, but yet still they are recapitulations. You understand what I'm saying? Of events that have already taken place. So therefore, when we come here and we look at these particular things that are manifesting right here, all right? And it says, based upon the principles of how, that it says that the firefighters, you understand, local fire officials had warned the people before this had happened. You understand what I'm saying? That brings us right here, okay? So we're here when at the preparing of this particular ark, you understand what I'm saying, that they warned the people. See, let us go in so you can see how it's right here on the chart, all right? Preparing of the ark, warning of the people. You understand what I'm saying? Manifesting right here. So here was the warning, telling the people, hey, it's going to rain, it's going to rain. Come get inside the ark. Did the people pay attention? No. So therefore what happened was 8 souls got on the ark based upon the warning. You understand what I'm saying? 8 souls were saved to where we understand after the warning, to where we understand how 10, you understand what I'm saying, are killed. Here was the warning here before it took place. And therefore we are showing you here, based upon these particular principles of how this was, you understand, a leisure, you understand what I'm saying, boat ride. That's manifesting right here, okay? And so therefore, when it's talking about how they say family means everything, you understand that it was only one family that got inside this particular ark. So this family meant everything because this was the only family, okay, to
exist and to live after the warning, you know what I'm saying, of the great fate of what was going to happen to this world at this particular time. Okay, so therefore, this is the principle to show you how one family, okay, had got into this particular ark, okay, to where how it says, this individual, she said that we got nervous because we have no information and it's family night. Okay, so therefore, when they had got into this particular ark, if we understand it was 40 days and 40 nights here, you know what I'm saying, of straight family night when they was upon and within this particular ark here. All right, and so therefore, it says that out of the 32 injured, 9 people were in the hospital list. Okay, so now there we go again. I will share with you the principles of the 32. You know what I'm saying? There is no difference between the principles of the 32 that had manifested with the principles of New York. Okay, that we share with you 32 because it was based upon the transfiguration. You add the numbers of 3 and 2 together, that's manifesting the principles of Pentecost. And so therefore it says, that's why it says that 32 were injured. And it says 9 were in the hospital. Now there it goes back to that number of 9 because it is showing you the principle of completion. You understand what I'm saying? And it's going back to show you based upon the 9 furnishings. You understand what I'm saying? Of the tabernacle of Yahweh Elohim. Okay. And so we have to look at these particular things because it is showing you and perpetuating over and over and over again. Okay. It was a principle that I was trying to go to. Let me see if y'all was going to bring it back to me. Okay, yeah, it was opportunity to Pentecost. Let me go here. Go back here to the transfiguration and pertaining to the principles of Pentecost right here. All right, and then 32 pertaining to what happened with the transfiguration with Yahshua here. All right, takes us right back here, okay, to show you the same principles that are manifesting right here. All right, picking up these particular principles right here, 32, okay. All right, 32 AD, picking up these particular principles right here. All right, now as well, when you're looking at how you have this blue portion right here pertaining to the vapors, you understand what I'm saying? That's picking up the particular principles of the water vapors, and then the principles of the rain. And then it says 9 individuals were in the hospital. 9 is the number of completion, just like how it's the principle of the 9 children. This is the principle of 9, to show you how that is that particular principle being complete. Okay, so therefore, just like how we shared with you, it has to be 9, because when we're looking at the 9 plagues that are manifested down here, the 9th plague that manifested down here within the land of Egypt was stench and darkness. You understand what I'm saying? The 10th plague was the death of the firstborn within the stench and dark of Egypt. You understand? So you had 2 plagues manifesting simultaneously at the same time, which was 9 was the 9th plague, which was stench and darkness, and then also the manifestation of death of the firstborn that had manifested down here within the land of Egypt. So these particular things that are manifesting, we're trying to show you how all of these things are manifesting within the world, okay? And it's picking up the principles that are manifesting within the court roundabout to show you how that this is a destruction of Satan's kingdom, okay? Being demolished, falling, and collapsing flatter than a fritter. You understand what I'm saying? Now, our founder had prophesied and said that the Roman Catholic Church shall fall flatter than a fritter. So therefore, he made that prediction, and we see it come to pass. Now, as well as that, and he teaching us these things and said that the destruction of Satan will manifest throughout the ages and dispensations. My declaration is to show you how that Satan's kingdom is going to fall flatter than a fritter, and that it has already fallen. And this is the manifest, the reflect that is manifested within the world based upon that ecology that I told you about, the earthquake that happened simultaneously, 2 earthquakes within one day. One which was a 3.8, which is in reference to Yahshua the Messiah, or Elohim, his number, and the 3.6 that had manifested pertaining to the principles of the satanic spirit. Okay, so if you go back and you look at that particular lecture that I told you, okay, this is the prophecy coming to pass now. You understand what I'm saying? That was the reflect, okay, based upon both of the kingdoms and the war in between those particular kingdoms. After that happened, we've seen the ramification that it happened based upon what the satanic spirit had did to me, which was a reflect. You understand what I'm saying? How Satan was trying to hit at the kingdom of Yahshua Messiah. So now, based upon that, I said, we're going to accept that. Now watch what my Father is getting ready to do pertaining to them. So now you're seeing all these particular things manifest, okay, based upon the destruction of Satan's kingdom. You understand what I'm saying? And as well, I told you this too. Every time that something happened to me, I told you that I wasn't going to say nothing more. You understand what I'm saying? I told you that, okay? I shared with you how that right after that, there had some things that happened pertaining to people within my own race, pertaining to Africans, but I'm not going to keep crying about tit and tat for every nation or race or nationality or people that do something to this particular tabernacle in reference unto the satanic spirit, you know what I'm saying, persecuting the body of Yahshua the Messiah, you know what I'm saying, which I am a part of the body of Yahshua the Messiah. Now, when you perform all these particular things that we have talked about pertaining to voodoo, things that are witchcraft, sorcery, or things that are characteristics of this satanic spirit, you understand what I'm saying? This is what's allowing this particular kingdom to sit up and fall. And all those particular nations who have their hand, you understand what I'm saying, based upon the mark of the beast, you understand what I'm saying? That are doing all these evil things that you think, you understand what I'm saying, that are unmonitored, are untalked about. Because I said, I'm not going to keep going and talk, oh yeah, this person. I see you, I witness you, I walk by you, no matter where we are, no matter what public place that we are, that you feel that you can do these particular things, that I'm going to be unaware. But one thing that you do not understand or pay attention to, because you are physical, natural, and carnal, that if there are 1/3 demonic hosts that are manifesting within the world that's hiding up on their code of flesh within individuals that are doing these things, that just as well that there are 2/3 of Yahweh Elohim's people that are still manifesting, that has the spirit of Yahweh Elohim that is manifesting upon the earth as well. Just like when Yahweh Elohim had told Elijah, he says, Father, you see Elijah in the cave, says, I'm the only one to serve you and overzealous of you. You understand what I'm saying? I don't see nobody else serving you but me. Yahweh had to tell him, he says, I reserve 7,000 who have not bowed their knee, you know what I'm saying, unto Baal, okay? But Elijah didn't know that. You understand what I'm saying, based upon the things that he was going through. And then when you look at how when Elisha, you understand what I'm saying, was in this particular tent, and he was surrounded by all that particular army, you understand what I'm saying? And Gehazi looked down and says, oh man, this army is all the way around us, they kill us, and we're right in the middle of them. Just us, and it's 59,000 people that's out there that's going to kill us. Elisha said, Father, open his eyes and show him, let him see what I see. And when Yahweh Elohim had opened up Gehazi's eyes based upon the prayer of Gehazi, okay, that he showed him that all these particular angels, you understand what I'm saying, of Yahweh Elohim was around all those who was around Elisha and Gehazi when they were up here in Jerusalem. And he says, wow, all the fiery host of the chariots of the children of Israel manifesting all the way around, to show you how it is more of Yahweh Elohim's angels, you understand what I'm saying, around us than it is all those particular evil angels. You understand what I'm saying? But it is regularly not seen nor understood. But just to sit up and show you that when we show you these particular principles, and I just make it simple, okay, and come here, all right, as I say, that if we see here, when we come here, I just do it like this really fast, okay? That when we come here and we look at when we got the man and the woman coming up out of the garden, okay? We just make it real simple when we come here. And when we're showing you how we got the man and woman coming out of the garden, we're showing you an angel here, that's a bad angel, okay? And then, I mean, when they were in the garden and right before the transgression, that we showing you the bad angel. And when they're coming out of the garden, that we got a good angel here to show you that we got a good angel and a bad angel, and that how both angels, you know what I'm saying, are manifesting, okay, within this physical creation. Because here goes the war that's manifesting right here when Michael and his angels fought against Lucifer and his angels. Okay, that's talked about over there in the book of Jude. You understand what I'm saying? That's manifesting right here. Sometimes you got to go to the end of the book to see what happened in the beginning. Just like how it says the ending is, that the end is declared from the beginning. So this is how we understand these particular things, okay? This is how we look at these things so that we can understand when we're looking at Yahweh's elements purpose of what happened here to where we can see and understand how things perpetuate all the way through the purpose, all right? And so therefore, this is a young lady saying that her uncle, you understand what I'm saying, who were spending the weekend at the site and decided to take a boat tour, all right? So you got the uncle, okay, with his niece, okay, and they were at the site, okay, and then it says they decided to take a boat tour, all right? Now, if you understand the scriptures, okay, and like I said, all right, and what I want you to do is that we have to look at the 2 times based upon the dispensation and ages based upon these things are happening and taking place. Now, everything that we have shared with you before, all these particular things took place over here on this side of the cross, okay, pertaining to the, it said the Yahweh element week that the ignorance that had manifest over here. You understand what I'm saying? And so now that brings us over here, okay, on this side, after the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. So now it says how the young lady, okay, now I find this phenomenal. I really hope that you can follow me based upon these particular principles that I'm getting ready to run, all right? Now we over here, you know what I'm saying, on this particular side of the cross after the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, okay? And so after the death, burial, and resurrection of Yahshua the Messiah, that we have to understand that Yahshua only appeared unto his disciples, I believe, only one time. Now this is getting ready to be the second time that Yahshua was getting ready to manifest himself unto his particular apostles at this particular time. And therefore, all of the apostles said, let's go fishing, because Peter wanted to go fishing. And therefore, you have the apostles that's within the boat. You have Yahshua upon the shores and called unto them and says, hey, did you catch any fish? Because they were fishing all that night. They said, no, we didn't catch none. And then Yahshua told them, he says, hey, you know, they had the net on this side. Yahshua told him, throw the net on this side of the boat, you understand what I'm saying? And tell me what you get, because I believe they had it on, you know what I'm saying, the wrong side. So therefore they threw the net on this side and they caught 150 fish, to where it says that it was so heavy that it almost sunk the boat. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, we're looking at these particular principles of how this particular boat, you understand what I'm saying, had sunk, and is pertaining to where her uncle was, okay? So now you have to understand these particular principles, that now you have a young lady and you have a man. You understand what I'm saying? And then we have pertaining to the principles of how Peter, you understand what I'm saying, was a fisherman that wanted to go get in a boat and decided, he said, you know what? I decided to take a boat trip, you know what I'm saying? Or I want to go fishing. So he made that decision. Now, this uncle made this decision, got in the boat, and he died. Yahshua says, hey, I'm going to make you fishers of men. You understand what I'm saying? So now we look at these particular principles, okay? So now what happens is that when we're looking at this, okay, and this is the beautiful thing about this here, boy, I tell you, you understand? I'm really hoping that you can follow, all right? Now, since I told you that all these things that had happened was on the other side, because in essence, let me go back here because I want to show you this principle, okay? Because like I said, we declare the beginning from the end, okay? And we're making that declaration based upon the things that we shared with you, and everything that we talked about, like I said, was on this side of the cross, okay? Because that's pertaining to the things pertaining to the beginning. Now, the things pertaining to the end is allowing us to be able to come here. That's what we're picking up right now based upon these two particular ecologies that both happened on Sunday and manifested at 11 o'clock, okay? Why? Because it's going back to the principles of what we just shared and revealed to you based upon the principles of 11. Because this being a time frame and showing you that based upon the principles of 11, how this is over the satanic foundation. You understand what I'm saying? Of Lucifer. So this is showing you how Satan's kingdom and the foundation of the satanic kingdom has collapsed and failed. So this is how we're showing you these particular principles here, and showing you how that from the things that happened within the beginning, you know what I'm saying, how they're from the beginning, how they manifested within the end, and we're declaring the end from the beginning. So what happens is that this brings us here, okay, and we're looking at the principles of how we shared that how that manifested with Peter. So that brings us right back here to the confirmation of the resurrection of Yahshua the Messiah, okay, when we look at these particular principles, how to reveal to you that when we share with you how that, oh, wow, let me run, got me running. How that when we come here and we're showing you based upon the death, burial, and resurrection of Yahshua the Messiah, that is manifesting here, showing you how he resurrected, and this happened on Sunday morning early. You understand what I'm saying? And to show you based upon the principles of how when he resurrected that this tree fell, you understand what I'm saying? But in essence, it showed you principles based upon the fire that had happened within New York. That's picking up the principles or the things that happened within the beginning, based upon the death, burial, and resurrection of Yahshua Messiah, based upon the tree falling, all these particular things that we share with you, that it happened pertaining to the principles of the Sunday, early morning Sunday, of resurrection. You understand what I'm saying? We shared those particular principles with you there. All right. How all of that was resolved around how Yahshua had resurrected, showing you, pertaining you the principles of 32 AD based upon the transfiguration of Yahshua Messiah, to show how it all has to do with him. All right. So now look at the beauty of this. Okay. We pick up the principles of 32 because we understand that along with this, with the transfiguration, that three witnesses that you had was Peter, James, and John. Okay, so now this is pertaining to the principles with Peter, because Peter was there at this particular transfiguration that happened at 32 AD. Now we shared with you how how Peter said that he wanted to go fishing, and therefore that he got in a boat. We shared with you how what Yahshua said when he had seen them, and then it says how that Peter had dove into the water and swam to the shore. You understand what I'm saying? Because he said that that was Yahshua. Okay. Now, when we come here to the divine vision and revelation of our founder, when we authenticate his divine vision and revelation, that this brings us to the reconfirmation, okay, or the resurrection confirmation of Yahshua Messiah that happened 10 years exactly after Yahshua had went through his death, burial, and resurrection. So since this was exactly 10 years unto the resurrection of Yahshua Messiah, it also goes back, okay, to confirm the simple fact of the reason why that there were 10 individuals that had to die, you understand what I'm saying, at this particular Brazilian cliff collapse. You understand what I'm saying? Because here it is a 10-year confirmation pertaining to the principles of what happened to the death, burial, resurrection of Yahshua Messiah that we have fulfilled and showed you pertaining to the principles that happened in New York with our first ecology that happened at 11 o'clock on Sunday. So now we're coming over here to show you, based upon the principles that happened in Brazil, to pick up the principles to show you the reconfirmation of the things of what happened to Peter to fulfill the things that happened with Yahshua, the Messiah. Because now we're showing you, based upon when Peter said that I'm going to fishing, you understand what I'm saying, that what happened pertaining to the things of the boat, okay? And that's what brings us here, all right? So now after Peter was locked up in prison for preaching the gospel, okay, it says how that an angel came, that there was an earthquake. It's like there was an earthquake when Yahshua resurrected when Yahshua gave up the ghost and died, as well as when the stone was rolled away, that there was an earthquake. You understand what I'm saying, when Yahshua resurrected bright and early Sunday morning. You know what I'm saying, that the 300th part of the Sunday morning resurrection of Yahshua Messiah. So what's happening here is that on the same day, okay, pertaining to when the Yahshua had resurrected, okay, that the angel came and slapped Peter on the side. There was a big earthquake, you understand what I'm saying, that like the angel rolled away the stone that allowed Yahshua to resurrect it, that after the earthquake, the chains fell off of Peter. You understand what I'm saying? The prison was open, and then the angel led Peter up out of prison, just like how the angel had rolled the stone away to allow Yahshua to be able to resurrect right here. You understand what I'm saying? Let me try to come in a little closer, okay, so you can be able to see these particular principles, because this is in reference to the 10-year resurrection reconfirmation of Yahshua Messiah. So therefore, when Peter gets up here, after he had came up out of prison, and when he went to the brethren, that he went and knocked on the door, and he said there that there was a damsel at the door, and she went and told the other people inside that I heard Peter up at the door, and they said, no, you just hear Peter's ghost because Peter is in prison. You know what I'm saying? So they mocked her because Peter was in prison like unto his death, and then they said that that's Peter's ghost. You understand what I'm saying? Because they made reference to this, because Peter is in actuality fulfilling or confirming, you understand what I'm saying, the resurrection of Messiah based upon the things that happened with Peter within the flesh by him being locked up, just like unto the death of Yahshua Messiah, the angel releasing him, the earthquake and everything, because there was an earthquake when Yahshua died and when Yahshua resurrected. Mary, okay, you're looking at these things. And then here, when Yahshua had seen Mary Magdalene come here, he told the woman not to touch him. You understand? And reflect based upon how that here, it takes us all the way back to the man and the woman, you understand, which was Adam and Eve, all the way back in the garden, which we shared with you in the beginning of what Yahshua was fulfilling here when he was giving you principles about now you see flowers, and when the man was coming up out of the garden, how you didn't see any flowers when we were coming here, showing you these particular principles here. So it's going all the way back because this is the origin, this is one. Here it is two, based upon the fulfillment of Yahshua Messiah. And then here is the confirmation, picking it up with Peter here based upon the reconfirmation. So here you have a young lady saying that I'm looking for my uncle. You understand what I'm saying? Because it is family night. And then we showed you that this leading you all the way back based upon the principles that happened with Noah and his partner, and also they'll pick up the principles based upon Peter and the young woman here to pick up the principles of what happened with Mary and Yahshua right here. So it goes all the way back to show you how that this thing is airtight. Okay, it fits everything in Jot and title, and this is showing you how these things are principle and leading up into the Messiah and telling his story. But yet and still, you understand, saying the ramifications has to be broken down, okay, and it must go line upon line, precept upon precept. So therefore, what we're doing is that we're giving you lines within the scriptures and showing you the lines within these newspaper articles to line them up to show you how it's line upon line. And then we're showing you the precept of what happened based upon what happened with the man in the beginning pertaining to the principles of the first Adam, and then with the second Adam, and show you based upon how with the second Adam that those with the spirit of the second Adam was doing nothing but fulfilling everything that happened with the second Adam, okay? And we're showing you this all the way down, okay, of how it perpetuates, okay? And so therefore, along with that, that when we come here, that it takes you all the way back to show you based upon how 11 o'clock in the beginning, 11 o'clock in the end. Why? Because it's showing you about the first Adam and the second Adam pertaining to the first and the last, okay? And showing you principles of, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not giving the vision no justice. I just be thinking that you guys are in your house with me and can see what I'm talking about and pointing to, but we're gonna work on that too, so you guys can catch all these things simultaneously at the same time, okay? It do nothing but get better, okay? Showing you how. This is the beginning, this is the end, okay? This is the first, this is the last, okay? Picking up all these particular principles and showing you that what happened in the beginning was the same thing that happened in the end, and we're showing you what's happening within the end was the same thing that was happening within the beginning, taking you back to the ages and the dispensations of what happened within the ages and dispensations to bring these things out to show you what happened within the beginning, because these things happen pertaining to the things in the end, and then going back to the things that happened within the end to show you how these were the things that happened within the beginning, based upon what happened within New York and what happened within Brazil, to show you at the same time on two different sides of the world, based upon the principles of when we're looking at principles of the second Adam, pertaining to the principles of 11, okay? You understand what I'm saying? How all these things take us back into the Messiah, okay? All things leads us back into the Messiah. So therefore, I really hope that you could see these particular principles. And then as well as the last, it says that authorities are now trying to identify those kills with their bodies badly damaged in the collapse. And so therefore, based upon the collapse, and we understand how those principles of death there, that when Moses had threw down these particular tables of stone, and he had told his brother to slay every man and his brother, how that every death here pertaining to the principles with the children of Israel, to show you no more than what our founder has spoken, that seems and know that is fact and manifests itself true, how that the manifestation will change, but the principle will remain the same, and to show you that our founder, Dr. Henry Kinley, did no more but speak the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you Yah. Okay, so with that, I hope that it was something that you have seen, something that you have learned pertaining to the prophecy of Yahshua the Messiah, pertaining to the things that are talked about within the kingdom of Yahshua the Messiah, to where, like I said, that he is the will and he is to do, and all things, you understand what I'm saying, were made and created by him, okay, for his good pleasure. You understand? And like I said, that the whole heaven and earth be silent before him. Okay? Because here on the fourth day of creation, the whole entire earth was silent and he preached his gospel.
You understand what I'm saying? And allowed his creation to manifest the things that he manifested from the first day until the fourth day, which was fulfilled. You understand what I'm saying? On the sixth and seventh day, pertaining to his rest in his Sabbath. Okay? So I hope that based upon these two particular ecologies that I found that was very, very phenomenal. Yahweh Elohim did not allow me to write no more, but these two particular ecologies to manifest these two faithful witnesses of the law and the prophets, okay? And to show you how all things is pertaining to him, and as well to reveal to the world, okay? His two faithful witnesses, which is the law and prophets, which are the keys of life, which are witnesses of him. And so that being said, let us end and conclude this particular lecture. And I hope that that you enjoyed it. I hope there was some spiritual fundamental principles that you've seen pertaining to the things that Yahweh Elohim had me say this evening to confound and to strengthen your faith and belief in him, how all things testify of our Savior, Yahshua the Messiah. So now we will be saying our doxology, which is the Ephesians, the 3rd chapter, and the last 2 verses, which is 20 and 21, which reads as follows. Now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundant above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. Unto him be glory in the assembly, by the Messiah, Yahshua, throughout all generations and all ages. Let us all say hallelujah. Thank you very much. And let us go hence. Shalom.